and us. Fly without boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Didn't even get to cross. I said I'm moving too far. Get to glass. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We on, hating because you want. Shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Yeah, shoot, 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 shoot. Yeah, shoot, shoot. Yeah, shooting, shooting, shooting. Yeah, shooting, shot. Shooting stars, shooting stars, shooting stars, shooting stars. Didn't even get to cross.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away? Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away?
What's happening, people? Tottenham away, Monday, the best place to be in town, and you know this. Thanks for joining us as always, guys. Big yourselves up, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. What a performance from Tottenham in that second half. For me, I would say probably our best performance of the season, I think, but we'll get into it for sure. None of us predicted 4-0. We were bang on it, and Villa shot themselves in the foot as well, and we took full advantage. We will get into it. We'll also discuss a couple of things in the news this week with Spurs. But first, JP, how you doing, my man?
I'm happy, man. I'm happy. I'm looking forward to the Wiener and BJ appreciation show.
We've started. We've started. Okay.
Slaps, bring it in there. No, it was a nice weekend. It was nice.
Sign them up.
I wasn't looking forward to it, to be fair, but it turned out well. And big up to the ladies as well.
Yeah, big up to the Spurs women. Beat Man City in the FA Cup to get to the semis.
Weekend.
Yeah, big up. Iggy, how you doing, bro? You right?
Yeah, all good. No, listen, same, man. Second half performance, we wiped the floor with them. People that say that the 10 men again, then going down to 10 men. Of course, it facilitated things, but we was already on top of them. We was already 2-0 up. We had 4 different goal scorers yesterday. Clean sheet. Yeah, a little worry about Van der Ven, but hopefully, with the international break, that will help as well. But we got to see Dragusin, so there is a little bit of goodness there. We've got to see him in the flesh. And look, end of the day, 4-0 against what will be our top 4 rivals. Is everything done yet? No, but listen, it was a big game that not many of us probably thought would go and win it in the way that we did. So, you know what? We give a lot of criticism. We do. Fans, Spurs fans particularly, give the team a lot of criticism. Today is not going to be that day where we criticise the team, because they really did put especially like you said, second half performance was top draw, and I'm glad JP mentioned about the BJ and the Turbo. No, listen. All jokes aside, look, there's no David Ginola. We're not saying that. We're just happy that they are doing things well that are helping the team do better. That is all you can ask for, man. As a fan, and that we're being real now. We know we agree and disagree on a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, we all want good for Spurs. That's the most important thing. And if they chipping in to do that, then I'm all for it.
The clean sheet was also pleasing, wasn't it?
Iggy, when was the last time you did YouTube live show?
A live show probably last Monday.
Last Monday, okay.
Wow.
No, because I asked you how you're doing, and you took 5 minutes to tell me how you're doing. So I'm just guessing. It's been a week.
Well, I like to be in depth in my answer. I don't like one word answers.
You're like Conte. Jimmy Conte was like that. It's an Italian thing. It must be an Italian thing. You ask him a question, you get the history.
I swear to you now, in the next show that we do together, when you ask me how I am, I'm just gonna say I'm all right, and we'll move on.
No, don't be like that. Don't be like that. Just having a bit of,
all good.
People say we're too negative, so I thought I'd try and make a bit of fun.
No. My answer is how. I'm taking you through the emotions of how I saw the game yesterday. I'm having a lovely coffee right now, so I'm good, man. I'm all good.
Listen, I know Iggy's got a lot to say on yesterday's game, which is good because there's a lot that happened. So, Mari, looking like a 1970s porn star, bro. Looking slick.
I try.
How do you know what 70s porn star looks like, though?
I've watched TV documentaries.
TV documentaries on porn, yeah? All right, then.
On the history of video and movies.
Oh, he looks like a fly guy, man.
He looks fly.
He's literally waiting for the whatever you want to call it for the 70s porno.
Yeah, that's a dodgy freeze, man. That's a dodgy freeze.
Yeah, I try.
He's still there.
He doesn't know he's frozen.
Right, Mari, you're frozen on a screen, and you're actually doing a Madison pose. The darts.
It's Madison's goal, man.
Yeah, man, he's got the pose right.
The Madison darts.
You good, Mari? Everyone all right over there in Florida?
Yeah, everyone's good. I saw that you had a guy from Kissimmee the other day. That's like the next town over. On Friday's show. I think, was it Friday's show? Yeah.
Oh, Cam. Yeah, Cam. He's got the Spurs 9501 podcast. He was quite good, actually, Cam. He had a lot to say.
Yeah. It was good.
He's like Iggy. He grew up in Tottenham or around there, and now he's but he lives in Florida now. He lives in America.
Okay. Yeah, I need to link up with
Not quite like Iggy then.
No, not quite. You're right.
That last bit, especially.
Maz, hey, Din. Nice mug you've got there, Maz. I like your mug. Yeah.
I know.
Very good. Yeah. Mugs are available in the club shop. I think we've got one. I don't even know. I've never looked at it.
Yeah, they are.
They are available.
Yeah, all good, mate. Good performance. I'm glad that they proved me wrong in the second half because I was quite upset in the first half. Yeah, all good.
Big up to Maz. Lee, how you been, bro? You good?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Great weekend. Went through that toilet roll as explained in WhatsApp, and
Fantastic.
great start to the week.
Porn
Now,
star toilet roll.
there's an answer.
Here we go. All right, let's send out to everyone in the chat. Guys, there's a lot of you talking about Sava, some of you in a nice way, some of you in a not so nice way. I'm not going to bring up your comments, just so you know. But look, Sava's left YouTube. It's his decision. He got fed up with the abuse and the hate that came his way. Some of it was a bit too personal and a bit close to home. So listen, man, if you're not happy, you shouldn't do something. And fair play to him. He's self-aware enough to know that this isn't for me. I'm out. And you know what? It takes a bit of bravery to admit that sometimes, especially when you're part of.
It's a shame. I'll say that. You can like him or you can hate him. But I thought his content was always really good, and I enjoyed being part of it. So I mean, it's the first I'm hearing of it. I know I was hiding in the cave all afternoon, but I'm just there. So big up, Sav, and I hope it's not definite. I hope he changes his mind. But if that's a definitive answer, then I wish him nothing but the best. But
if anyone
we need him on the airwaves, and it just sucks that you got people, if you challenge the system or you're critical of Spurs,
like we are.
We know how we feel. We know how it feels as a channel. We're considered haters, and so I mean, I'll say this as the last thing. You know, our fan base is just so weird. It's so weird. I can understand if we are a fan base that are used to winning trophies and whatsoever, and we're going through if we were like united and we're just going through a down patch, I can understand, okay, let's not be critical of the Glazers or whatsoever. We'll be back whatsoever. The thing is, we haven't won for 24 years. And so we 24 years, we haven't won a league since 60, let alone won a trophy since 08. So for us, we have a lot of things to be critical about. And there's a good balance. But it seems that the happy clappers, man, they just go way overboard. And they are part of this Levy cult. And so a big up to Sava. You know, it's sad that he's not going to stream anymore. Hopefully he'll guest appear with us. You know, he'll always have a home with us because, you know, Sava gave it to it real. And we, as a channel, you know, we got to 15K because we give it to it real. We're not going to serve, as we used to say, sugar cookies. We don't serve sugar cookies. We give the truth, the good, the bad, and the ugly about our club. And, you know, if people want to get a happy meal constantly, you know, they want to be like the Titanic and keep playing while the ship sinks, go to those channels.
There you have it. Big up. And if anyone does want to know more, just go over to Football Heritage TV. Sava put a video out today and you can, you know, see what he had to say. Big up Ian Collins, Tony Rodriguez, Chris Agomba, William El Said. Big up to you guys. We've got Mark, Wolves F1, Robert, Jason, Sammy and the boys. Jamie Geert, Norman's in the house, Kelvin, Phil P, LA007. We've got Chris. We've got OTC Transitional Period. JJ, Roy, Tom. We've got Matthew. 3SS. Sorry, JP?
Oi, oi.
Oi, oi. Who's that? JJ. Oh, JJ. Oi, oi. Big up. Sorry, man. I'm just rushing through. There's so many to get through. Tom 81, D. Sinclair, Inner Coma. Hope you're doing well. Spurs 72, Comrade. Big up. Chris Agomba, Phil P. Woo! Got Robin House, Cammy B100. We've got Ron. My name is Jeff. Philly in the building. Who else have we got here? George, hope you're doing well. Rathish, big up to you. Liston's in the building. Benjamin, get the fraud Arteta out of my club. The Frankfurt Gooner. They've won, so they show up. That's what the Arsenals do. That's what they do. Gary Officer in the building, big up to you. Robert Wilson. Trisnado, 22. Mark, fuck YouTube. Great name. Sophie's in the building. Oh, my God. Where's Sophie been? She's been missing for ages. Beyond 72. Daniela, Garop, Billy, John Fitzpatrick. Been a while, bro. Mark's in the building. Spurs King, big up. Jamie Git, Totspur. I think that's everyone. If I've missed you out, I am sorry. Oh, okay. One more time. Phil P, only because he said Phil Army. All right. So look, before we went into the game against Aston Villa, I remember doing like predictions and talking about it. Some of us said we'll win by a goal. Some said draw. Some said lose by a goal. I think I said 3-2 either way. It's completely opposite. The first half, where's the stats for the? Sorry guys, I had the stats. Yes, after the first half, the stats were no shots on target for both teams. Expected goals were low. Percentage we dominated, and we dominated passes completed in the final third. But no team created a clear-cut chance. No one really did anything special. Maybe a little half chance here and there. It was a bit of a chess match, a bit cagey. They were trying to rough us up. At one stage, Maddison, Douglas Luiz screwed a bit of squared up to each other. But at half time, guys, I mean, after the first half, I think most of us were thinking, do you know what? If this carries on, we're going to lose this if it goes like that. But in reflection, I actually think we controlled that first half without creating anything. I mean, what do you think, JP?
No, I definitely think we controlled that first half. I think one of the things that baffled me a little bit was it seemed that Emery changed his style, formation, whatever you want to call it, to maybe try and counteract us, right? He almost, like, to me, he went a little bit defensive. He tried to almost play not a low block, but a deeper block, should we say, and tried to hit us on the break. But I don't think the way they've been playing football, I don't think their team's used to that style. And it seemed to not work. But we were literally, we did come out firing, I thought. We, as in our chasing down, closing down. They seemed to do a hell of a lot of it. So I was quite, I mean, I wouldn't say pleased with that first half. At the end of the day, kind of like going in at half time, I was kind of like, it is what it is. And we seem to be a second half team at the moment. So fingers crossed and let's go. I think in the chat I put, there we go, second half FC. Let's see if it's real. And boy, was it real.
Iggy, Unai Emery changed his tactics. He went 5 at the back, which he's not done all season. He did it at home as well. When you think, hold on, surely you want to take it to us. You're the home team. You've got the fans behind you. The atmosphere was electric before kickoff. You've got, home advantage. What I didn't understand was this. If you're going to play 5 at the back, why push up high, allowing us to get in behind? If you're going to play 5 at the back, surely you drop deep, and then the wing backs, they explode up the wing, like what Conte used to do. 5 at the back. No, sorry. Well, I guess it was kind of, we did 3-4-3, but we'd kind of tuck into a 5, and then we'd push on the counter. I felt that they just gave us too much space in behind as well.
Look, in my opinion, I thought Aston Villa, they changed their natural style. They kind of adapted in a little bit. I'm not too sure why. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if they've got their eye on that European match in that, against Ajax. I'm not too sure. I found them a little bit like not quite with it. It didn't match, like you said, the atmosphere before the game. They looked a little bit worried, and I think they tried to alter their style, and they changed it too much to play out. That means, to me, that they were worried about this game. They were worried about the timing of the game in between the two European matches. Sorry, and I felt they gave us too much respect and allowed us to really go and take control of the game. We, on the other hand, we played exactly to our strengths. Romero in the first half was giving me a little bit of a tilt. I'm not too sure. It was it was
sloppy.
Yeah, it was a little bit sloppy, and I felt Van der Ven was having to put a few it was being the extinguisher, putting fires at the first sort of. It was nothing dangerous, but I just felt like he wasn't quite with it. But he obviously improved the longer the game went on, for sure. But other than that, I thought you're right. We controlled the game, although we didn't have any real danger towards Martinez's goal. We are absolutely controlled it. As to why Villa did what they did and why they changed the way they did, I'm not too quite sure because ultimately it didn't work. How they set up didn't work for them. So I don't know what the thinking behind that yet was.
It
But
might have been because they played Thursday and they were knackered, and he was trying to, I don't know, reserve some energy and hit us on the counter attack.
it's a head-to-head though. It's a head-to-head, and I've always think, JP, that winning breeds winning. Winning breeds winning. Wins, you know, when you win games and you do it in a way that you're truly reflects the way you want to play and you get wins out of it. For me, there's no fatigue and tiredness through that because you're playing Ajax, then you're playing a head-to-head match for the top four, and then you're going back, you know, playing Ajax again. These are the kind of games that you live for. This you know, this especially at this point of the season.
We've been there, Iggy, though. Thursday, Sunday's tough.
Yeah,
when you haven't got the squad.
For sure. And so the first half, even though, you know, ultimately we went back to the change room. It was 0-0, so they could have sorted things out at half time, made the changes they did. But we came out second half, different team. It was a completely different tempo. Got the early goal, and I knew from the moment we got the goal, there was no way we was gonna you know, come away.
Iggy, we'll get into the second half in a minute.
But the first half, I didn't feel at any point in that 45 minutes. I didn't come away with, I'm worried about this second half now. Tottenham put me in a situation where I was watching that game and I'm thinking, we got this. I think it's that if we get that first goal, and I told the boys this, I was watching with my sons. I said, if Spurs take the lead here today, we're going to wipe the floor with them. I said it right here with them. And that's exactly how it went. Obviously, I didn't expect it to be a 4-0, but I did feel, even in that first half, we was more than capable of beating them.
Phil P with a super chat, big up. Fourth place, shat themselves. Respect Spurs. Woo! In the house. Mario, I'll come to you next because I know you've got to leave. You might as well just at least tell us a little bit about the game. So during the match, this stat popped up, and goal scored from minute 16 to minute 30 in Premier League history. These are the best teams. Aston Villa are the best this season. So when we had that good early start and then Villa kind of got a couple of set pieces, you're looking at this stat and you're thinking, oh boy, this is what they do. But I thought we defended quite well. I thought Vicario and Van der Ven saved us a few times as well, but that's what they're there for. But overall, we dealt with them. And here's the thing, Maury. I went through every game this season so far in the Premier League. I looked at the starting team. We haven't lost a single game this season when Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogie, and Vicario start. Not one game this season. Except for Chelsea. But when you look at that game, Udogie red card, Romero red card, Van der Ven off injured, right? So when we've got the majority of them on the pitch for most of the game, nobody's beaten us. Nobody. Maury, like when you look at that Villa stat and they failed to score, and we kept a clean sheet as well, by the way. Are we underestimating how good our defense actually is because we went through this period of conceding 2 goals every week when we were chopping and changing at the back due to injuries and suspension? I'm asking you, have Spurs actually got a really top draw defense at the moment, but we just can't see it because we haven't seen them play together enough?
Yeah, I would lean more. We haven't seen them play together enough. And so that's why that's why we're leaking goals, because there haven't really been a cohesion of the team since the first 10 games of the season. And now you add Dragusin in, and so it can only improve, and that's good. Big difference when Porro is there. Better defensively, better going forwardly. So there's a big difference. Sorry, Emerson haters, but lovers, but there's a big difference when Porro is playing than than what's his name than Emerson. So it's a big difference. A big difference when Udogie's playing than Ben Davies. I will say this because I said this on the Thursday show, and now ESPN UK, FC, Sky Sports, they're all saying if the Spurs front 11, right, we haven't lost a game, so that's either we drew or we won, plays all three teams that are on top. We will be a factor in deciding who will be the Premier League champions. Because of that, we will be a thorn on somebody's side. We will be a thorn, and so hopefully, it's Arsenal's side will be a thorn, especially because we're playing at home. But I would say this: the defense really knows how to cover for each other. I know we mentioned Romero, who made the mistakes a little bit in the first half, but BDB was able to back him up. But then he was able to clean himself up. And you said this last night after I said it about sometimes people focus on that one mistake that Romero does and forget all the good things he did. In the 46th minute, he made a big interception. If he does not make that interception, Ollie Watkins or Bailey is going to score. If you replay the game in that 46th minute, if he doesn't intercept that ball, they score, and it's 1-0, different ball game. Then in the 61st minute, he did it again, where it was 2-0 before McGinn gets the card. Right, they could score the goal. Right, Villa, they have their offense is potent enough to come back. It could have been 2-1. So, two big interceptions from Romero. So the defense is, VDB goes down, Dragonson comes up, it steps up. It was a okay performance for his first kind of like major minutes game. So it can only get better, and so it's a work in progress. It can only get better, and it's like you said, when we have our starting 11, we will be in the game. We will definitely be in the game, and for the top three, they need to beware because we could be a thorn in someone's side. We will play a factor in who's going to win the Premier League.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have a say in it. Phil P. McGinn's next sponsored by Five Guys. # hamburger head. Is it hamburger head? I think it, hold on. Look, half time 0-0. Second half began with a bit of a disaster. Maz, Mickey van der Ven went down injured. Sky Sports, this is bad news for Spurs. So they even know how big he is for us. This man here, in my opinion, is absolutely crucial to the way we play. We saw again 2 or 3 times he made those rapid recovery runs. I think we're just taking it for granted now because we see it every week. We just, Mickey's got it. We don't realize what this guy is doing every single week. Yeah. He's literally 5 meters off the. He's got a 5 meter amount of ground to cover. Not only does he get back, he wins the tackle. He gets the blocking. He doesn't give away penalties, free kicks, fouls, and whatnot. Like having him out now, Maz, is this going to cost us? From what I've heard, he's going to miss the next 2 games, and I believe that's Fulham away and Luton at home. So I don't think that's the end of the world, but then we get into April: Chelsea away, Newcastle away, Arsenal at home, City at home, Liverpool. Suddenly, like without Van der Ven, I mean, how much of a top signing has he been, Maz?
He's my favourite player. I've said before that he's got shades of Vertonghen about him, albeit a bit taller and a lot faster. And he's a young lad, isn't he? So I can only see him getting better and better, assuming he stays injury free. I think you've said it before, Stel. If he carries on the current trajectory he's on, and if he improves, I would not be surprised in 2, 3, 4 years that a big club, Real Madrid or Bayern or whoever it is, comes and says, look, here's 80, 90 million for him. you know, and
I
wants
think
to
2 or
buy
3
him.
years is too long. I think it'll be sooner than that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is an absolute loss. I mean, my assessment of the first half's are slightly different to you guys. Although we had a lot of possession and we were controlled in periods of that game, I also thought we were incredibly wasteful, and we did get lucky, and lucky in the sense that Romero made several mistakes, and Van der Ven bailed him out big time, and they could have been, they could have been devastating for us if we did go behind. So I think the first half epitomised everything I currently hate about Ange Ball. And the tactics, they really confuse me when it doesn't work. When the team is in that low block state and we're effectively just pinging it around the box, or we have opportunities to release the ball and the ball is not being released quick enough, or are on the right side where you see players like Pedro Porro inverting and then trying to cross the ball into Son. Things like that are incredibly frustrating to watch for me. So, yeah, to answer your question directly, he will be a massive loss. But we brought Dragusin, and he's a talented defender by the looks of things, and certainly in his time in Genoa. So,
What did you
it
think
gives
of
us a
him?
good look at him.
What did you think? What did you think of him when he came on?
I think that he did really well. He didn't make any mistakes. It took him about 5 minutes to bed himself into that game because he hasn't had many minutes. And he looks like he's keen to impress, so he's always alert. He did an off. He played the offside quite well with the back four. I noticed that impressed me. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with him, to be honest. I mean, another thing as well, he's a big lad and he's very quick as well, which is crucial, especially if Romero does get saved by VDV a hell of a lot, especially when Romero goes a bit more forward into midfield and up front. So Dragusin having pace is a godsend for us.
Yeah, you can tell he's deliberately been bought for the system.
It's funny that Romero used to save everyone else's asses last year.
Yeah,
now we got some. But to be honest with you, look,
That's the way they play, though.
mine wasn't. Yeah, well, mine wasn't a criticism of Romero. I'm saying if I had to pick one thing that I saw in the first half, that he didn't look quite with it. But look, as the game grew, he definitely got better. And I agree with Mario. He made some 2 or 3 really good interceptions there. So it might have just been a bit off. But all in all, listen. The bottom line is the reason why Spurs are doing as well as they are now is because we've got our spine back, man. We got the goalkeeper, the 2 centre halves. Maddison's he's slowly getting back to his best. This goal is going to absolutely make him give him an extra gear now. Our midfielders, they had a better game. Bissouma and of course Son completing that spine at the top. How can it not get better? It has to get better.
So look, the result was really positive. I did think we played very well in the second half, right? And I'm not. My view on the team though hasn't changed from this result. If you recall our last 2 weeks of the show, we have been a little bit more pessimistic than normal about Spurs. So are we letting a good 45 minutes all of a sudden dictate how we suddenly view the last 15 games being played? Because we've had our full strength team now for the last 3 or 4 games, and we've only seen a good 45 minutes so far. So I'm a little bit wary about what's happened.
I think this result against what will be our top 4 rival was fundamental. Let me spin it this way: we lose this game, where does that leave Spurs? 8 points behind Villa, completely in disarray, and we'll be here right now.
I agree, it's a good result, but
we haven't done nothing in the grand scheme of things, Maz. I agree with you. We haven't done anything. We're still 2 points behind. We've got the Chelsea game in hand. Top 4 is still very much. It's still much to do. We haven't done anything in the grand scheme of things. But if we isolate the Villa game, which is what we're talking about, listen. I think
on a result, it's an amazing result. We normally bottle it when we get into this type of situation, right? So I agree with you. It's an amazing result. I was delighted with the second half performance. I thought we did really well. But if we take a step back, I don't think we should be judging the team based on this 45-minute performance as much as we have. Having seen the other channels and the other shows, I think Wayne Holland in the comments summed it up nicely. It's like we were a prime Barcelona all of a sudden, and that's not the case at all.
no.
I saw enough worrying things in that game to make me think, have we really turned that corner? And I guess we've got a long show ahead of us. I'm sure we'll discuss it, but that's my initial thoughts.
Listen, I definitely want to get into that about where we're going after that result, because it was an emphatic result. But I also think them going down to 10 men it's a bit similar to when Chelsea beat us 4-1. Hold on, what's the true picture? Oh, we went down to 9 men. Okay, that was different. And Chelsea were away from home, Villa were at home. So, but I do think there are factors. But listen, we had to do what we had to do. We did it. So Van der Ven's gone off. Dragusin comes on, and then bang, Lee. Pape Sarr with an unbelievable cross. I mean, everyone's spoken about it because it was that delicious cross into the box. It wasn't the greatest kind of height to deal with, but Maddison got his foot onto the end of it. I think it was like just above knee height, puts it into the back of the net. But the build-up play before that, where Kulu plays it wide, goes back to Kulu, forwards it to Son. The 1-2 touch football we played to get it to Sarr, that was Ange ball. If people say, what's Ange ball? That's what Ange ball is, which is just basically Man City football. And Pape Sarr, he looked like he was going to lose balance, and he got his balance together and just whipped in an unbelievable pass. What do you make of Pape Sarr, Lee? Is he being overhyped? Because he has gone missing in some games, but is he one of those players that doesn't really catch your eye? But he's so important to what we're doing under Ange.
Listen, at the moment, first off, what I want to say is, for me, he was the man of the match yesterday, not Son. He, for me, out of the three, Bentancur, Basuma, and him, for me, he's the first one in that lineup. His pressing and everything yesterday was fantastic, I thought. The cross and everything. I just think he had a really, really good game yesterday. I don't think he gets enough credit for the amount of work he actually puts in. A bit like Kulusevski, the amount of the work rate that he puts in, I think is fantastic. But I think he can only get better as a player. He's still very young. He can still learn from those around him and experience and get even better. I think he's got a foundation to be a great footballer. I really do. Yeah, and what a worldy cross that was. To get into that position and whip that in first time, knowing that Maddison is there and not just a complete. I don't think it was a complete fluke, or that's the kind of thing we want to see the likes of Timo and Brennan doing, right, in those positions. Just instinct, bang, in it goes, and that. So for me, he was my man of match, to be honest, from the match that I was watching. And I think with the inconsistencies with Bentancur and Basuma, I think he's first name in that midfield at the moment for me. If you want someone that's going to give you consistency, I think Basuma had a better game yesterday, but I think that was in some part because, listen, I know I've stayed quiet going over all the other topics that we're going over, and I made some comments yesterday in chat, and they didn't go down very well. But for me, I think Emery got that wrong yesterday. Simple as that. He got the formation wrong. He got his tactics wrong. I think it allowed us to play a little bit more free. And I think that also there wasn't as much pressure on the likes of Basuma and that. So I think Basuma had a better game yesterday. Still a couple of shaky moments, but he said he had a better game than the last couple of games. But I just don't think they put enough pressure on us, whether they were tired or what. And I think that allowed us to play better, allowed us to play a bit more open. But I'd agree, the first half was a bit. I always try to gauge how I think the outcome of the game is going by how nervous and sweaty I get watching a football match. And I was dry as a bone after the first half. I really thought we're gonna score, and if we do, and once after we'd scored the second goal, I was like, right, now we've got to put this game to bed. We've literally got to put this game to bed. We just need to put. They're going to push onto us. We need to do what we do best and finish it off. But we got John McGinn lost his head, so that helped us out even more.
Let me ask you something, right? We started with Pape Sarr, Basuma, and Maddison yesterday. We won 4-0. They were the starting three on that 10-game opening run. Forget who's the best players. For the system that we play, are they the best three?
Based on what we've seen this season, yes. I mean, Bentancur,
he done well when he come on. I have to say.
The problem is that we've always had an injury problem, right? And Bentancur's been out for a year, and he's come back and he got injured again, and then he's come back. So he's not fully. I don't think he's going to be fully fit until next year. Now I think he's going to be in and out of the team. Lo Celso just looks at a football pitch, plays a few minutes, and gets injured. So how can we judge? They're the only three we really have, right? But that's not to take anything away from those three. Albeit, I don't think Basuma had 10 good games, and he's had 16, 17 not bad games, but not so good games, right? Or less because he's been sent off and stuff. So, yeah.
Do you think
I think
though,
the three of
gents,
them complement each other though?
They do, but can you, again, might be a bit of an unpopular opinion, but can we really take, after McGinn got sent off, can we really take any of the performances as they were based on the fact we had so much space just to knock that ball around? I mean, anyone could have been knocking that ball around in that midfield. Well, it's their fault, but if there was 11 players on the pitch, would the performances that they showed after that Villa went down to 10 men be the same? I don't think it would have been. So
it's the same thing as what was said about Chelsea, right?
I would say probably not, but you have to take advantage when it's there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And you have to give them props for taking advantage and picking out the space as they found it.
They had loads of
Otherwise, kind of like Villa could have just put 10 men behind the ball and we could have just kept banging against the wall again. But the fact that Villa didn't, we actually had the opportunity, saw the opportunity, and I think we took it to pick off those spaces.
I thought in the first half, our pressing from the front three and Maddison was superb.
Cooley was good. Cooley was a workhorse.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I also felt that Aston Villa's pressing in the midfield was really good. They shut us down in that middle. I felt so. Second half though.
And still, but that comes from
we looked re-energized.
That was John McGinn, right? He's like the Villa workhorse, and as soon as you took him out, the levels went down even again. So,
but they were 2-0 down by then, though. They were.
No, absolutely they were. But there's no reason why. And listen, we can always say, we never know what could have happened or what should have happened or what may have happened. But we all said, that it could have been 2-1, 3-2, whatever in our predictions. There's nothing to say that Villa couldn't have scored 2 goals after we scored 2. It didn't look likely. I must admit, I thought it didn't look likely. But, at the end of the day, Emery could have changed it. We still had, 30 minutes to go.
It facilitated things for surely. It facilitated
absolutely.
us going on to get 3 and 4. But even up to when he got sent off, we was on top of them. We had already gone 2 up.
I don't disagree with that.
I didn't feel, looking at that game, listen, it could have happened. I could have pulled one back, and then who knows what happens in that finale. But for me, from what we didn't look like we was going to concede yesterday. That was the thing as well. Defensively, we didn't look in that second half. We was going to concede, and they had a couple of scares, and then Vicario, smothered those situations as well. So I don't know. Look, we if and what's and whys, who knows what could have happened. But my taking up until that point, I thought we were still going to go on to maybe not beat them 4-0, but it was still we would have probably got another one.
I think we were
as well.
looking comfortable enough to see that
To
game
kill it
out.
off with a
Absolutely.
third goal.
Absolutely.
A third goal would have just killed it. And that
I
would have
think
been it.
when you watch it back as well, most of the, I mean, I think the majority in the first half, the small chances that Villa did have came from, again, individual mistakes. I think there was Romero in the first, with dodgy pass for Romero. I think Basuma almost got caught out with a dodgy pass as well. They just didn't seem on it. If I'm honest, it was almost a bit like the Crystal Palace game where they did. They had little spurts, but they didn't. They just didn't
They
seem.
bottled it, man. They bottled it.
No, guys, hold on a minute. Let me ask something here, right? It's interesting this because
If we did a Villa yesterday, still we would have been called bottlers, Spursy, and all of that.
No,
They bottled it, man.
1 minute. Hear me out. When they came to Spurs, we battered them for 30 minutes. Couldn't
Yes.
score, right?
Yes.
Did we not do to them on Sunday what we should have done to them at our ground? Because for me, I honestly feel the way we aggressively pressed them, we forced them to go long. We forced them to just send it to Watkins or to the wide players to try and get onto us. But because Van der Ven and Romero pretty much dealt with most of it, it wasn't an issue. We stopped them from building up the play.
We were pressed them so high up.
Wasn't it
at one point when one of their players needed a corner flag?
Yeah, but
from their
what I mean.
goal kick.
At home, we got done through set pieces, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but you just said they weren't on it. I'm saying we stopped them from getting on it.
Yeah,
That's
cool.
what I'm
I
saying.
agree. But we battered them at home as well. I thought they got lucky with a couple of their breaks. I know Powell scored before half time, killed our momentum completely, and then obviously in the second half, they did what they did. I thought they took their chances better than us. We had loads of chances at home. We should have absolutely battered them at home as well, but we didn't. But this time around, I think over the two games, I think we were far better side. Even though we lost at home, we were still a far better side than them. So listen, we've got their number. I think we always get good results at Villa Park. And
I agree.
I think it's been a lucky ground for us.
I think tactically, Postecoglou has got the better of Emery this season, judging by our performances against them and how we've been so much in control against them despite us losing at home. I still think though we did get away with a few things, right? As you said, Basuma, nearly played them in. Romero made a couple of errors and VDV saved them. They missed a couple of chances that I felt they could have done a lot better.
You're not going to get the perfect match, man.
That's the way we played them, isn't it?
No, but it's very easy in a game like that to be so overwhelmingly positive that you distort the game, right? And so I'm just trying to be a bit objective rather than letting my emotion of us
Maz, the stats say
them
this,
in the second half.
Right. Overall, we had more possession. Shots equal. This was the difference. 5 on target, 1 off target. 1 on target for them. So, and also our passing accuracy was better, which I expect with more possession. But for me, look, clear-cut chances, they created 0. We created 4. On target shots 5, they had 1. I think what it came down to was in the final third, we were actually mustard. We were actually really, really good, and they were dog shit.
I agree.
They just, for once, our final third was top.
Yeah,
and theirs
I agree.
It wasn't.
Yeah, look, I'm delighted with our performance. I'm not trying to say negative things.
You're bringing some context to it. I get it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, listen, I get it. We did go 2-0 up straight after. Kulusevski wins the ball off of Konza, again from the high press. He releases to Son, and then Son literally going in on goal. One defender. We've got a player to the left, player to the right. For me, whoever he passed to, as long as they hit the target, it was a goal. So I know Brennan Johnson, the hype's going to be there, and I know brilliant, what a goal. But I just felt, look, man, you're giving him a 6-yard shot. Just smash it on target, it's a goal. I want to talk about Brennan Johnson because he got praised a lot. He's praised a lot. Now, when I looked at it, I'm going to praise him for scoring a goal, the usual 6-yard tap-in effort. Okay, fair
That's
enough.
not a tap-in,
A
man.
goal's a goal,
Okay.
man.
Borderline tapping, that was Iggy.
Goal's a goal.
Right, he scored from halfway
Would
between the
Werner
penalty
have scored
spot
that?
and the line. Right. I'll give him praise for scoring the goal, and he was very aggressive in the press. I thought his pressing, especially in the first half, was excellent, like really good. Like he showed like he's got some balls. Like this guy, you know what? I'm not a kid. I'm a man. Brilliant. That's what I want to see. But, and this is my gripe, and this is why I don't want him or Werner or Brian Gill at the club going forward. Accurate crosses into the box, 0. Accurate passes into the box, 0. Dispossessed of the ball, 14. Lost possession 14 times. Dribbles, 50% failure. And then there was one more assist, 0. So when I'm assessing him as a player that plays in that position, yeah, your pressing was great, but it led to what? None of his pressing led to much. The 1 or 2 times he did get the ball, especially in the first half, once I think he ran the ball off the pitch, and the other time he misplaced the pass into the box. So I will praise him for the things that I think he deserves to be praised, which is you scored a goal. Well done. A goal's a goal. I agree with that, Viggy. Yeah, a goal is a goal. But the context of me was, mate, it's on a plate for you. And his aggressive pressing was good teamwork. I'll praise him for that. But as an all-around player on the day, I don't know, man. I think fans are so desperate for him to be great, and they're so used to him being average that he puts in a half-decent performance, and now it's like a 10 out of 10 performance. Whereas Kulusevski, for example, whereas Kulusevski,
it was a 10 of 10. No one
no,
said that.
but
man.
no, I'm saying
No, they are. Iggy.
Not you.
They are.
There are fans
Are
out
you
there
expecting
jizzing. They're jizzing.
Brian
You know, he's
Gill?
arrived. But at the same time, you've got a player like Kulusevski who got an assist and was involved in 3 of the goals. Like he set off Pape Sarr. He's the one who intercepted the ball and released Son for Brennan's goal. He set up Son. He gets criticised. And I'm thinking, out of the 2 players, Kulu was better. But we're praising Brennan and fans are shitting on Kulu. That I don't get. And that I'm not going to change my stance on. Right, Iggy, go
But
for it.
Kulu's been getting that all season, by the way. I've always backed Kulu. I've always said that the guy creates so many chances. Whether we take him or not is another matter. But he's always forever creating, and his hard work for the team goes unnoticed, man. The amount of ground he covers in the game is unreal. But of course, he fucks up as well, man. There's no denying that. But it's in that part of the context of a player during the game. He does good things. He does some bad things. But overall, your assessment of a player is he did more good than bad. And Kulu does that more often than not. He may not be the orthodox right winger that everyone likes to see. I know at Spurs, we've said this in the past. We mainly have a different mindset of a winger. Like someone with pace who works on the outside, takes players on, and he's a little bit different when it comes to that. But when it comes to creating chances, man, he's number one. I don't know how many players in this league in his position creates more chances than he does in the Premier League. I would love to put that up against anyone in this league who creates more than he does. That's number one. In regards to Brennan Johnson, look. The most important thing that we see him from game to game, and I know everyone's going to bring out the 50 million price tag and all of that, but is that we see his progression game by game. He may do 2 things right and 5 things wrong, but is he in the game? Is he doing what the manager's asking him to do? Is he contributing in any way? Is he scoring goals? Is he making goals? Some of those things will hit the tick, others will hit the crosses. But the bottom line is, in the context of the game and in context in the team and what Ange Postecoglou is asking him to do, for him to be in the team, that means the manager is clearly happy, probably more things that he does do right than he does do wrong, which is why he gets selected. So I have to think that way, and I have to see his growth as it comes. Look, he may not be ever the player that we probably want him to be, but we will find out in due course. And my assessment on him and every other player will be at the end of the season, see what they've contributed in the whole season long. And also, I have to say, lastly, our wingers are not. It's really weird that when we play, like, you know how your wingers play out wide, they take on a man, put a cross in. We don't play like that. We don't play like that because our fullbacks are almost like the ones that run beyond our wingers to then put the crosses in. So how are we expecting our wingers to be putting crosses in the box when we don't really play like that? Well, our fullbacks are the ones that really run beyond. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in saying this.
Let me ask this question. Right? Say it as it is. Say it as it is, right?
No, I may be wrong in what I'm saying. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. Our fullbacks seem to end up further up the pitch, and they are the ones that receive the balls to put in the box. So where do the wingers put the box? Have the opportunity to do that?
Well, they do. They choose not to. They tend to invert. Let me ask this question then, right?
But we play with inverted wingers still, man. If we want to put crosses in, why not play left-footed player and left-footed player on the right?
Not really. If you look at Kulusevski, the pass he made to Son to score, Kulu was on the byline, and he squared it to the penalty spot. But 1 minute, Maz, I want to ask this question, right? So,
but before you do,
go.
I just want to say, can we talk later on about the system? Because I've got questions I want to ask about it in terms of, because Iggy touched on it, that we've got fullbacks that are inverting, and then we've got our wingers who also want to invert as well at the same time. So then we get congested center of the box. But let's not talk about it now.
All right. I don't want to talk about the system. My question is about the system. We will talk about the system. We'll do the questions. If you look at the teams challenging for the title, Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal, right? They're wide players, Martinelli and Saka. Liverpool's is Diaz and Salah. Then you've got Man City. It's Foden and is it Silva? So who's playing the
Doku, Foden.
It was Silva last night.
Silva, right? Okay, so if I tell you Silva, Foden, Saka, Martinelli, Diaz, and Salah, that's the competition we need to be better than, right? That's what we have to be better than. If we are serious about trophies and we're serious about league titles and FA Cup, that's what we have to be. This Werner, Johnson, Gill, Kulu, Solomon, that any of those five surpass the 6 players from the teams we have to beat.
I would say really quickly, I 100% agree with you. We need better than that, right? Right now, if you pick Man City, if you pick Man City, who were there too? Who was Man City's? Yeah. Foden and Silva, right?
Yeah,
they've had obviously Silva. They paid reasonably big money for. Foden they bought through, right? Yeah, and they've had them consistently in the team for what 3-4 seasons.
Yeah.
So they've managed to learn exactly what Pep's style is, understand how to achieve it, do it, all of that stuff. So that's the Man City bit, I would say. Even for Arsenal, Saka has been there for how long in this new project and this new system that they've had for the last 4 years and allowed to thrive and everything. And who was the other one? Martinelli, right? So both of them too, even though they're youngish, they're kind of attacking and they're happy to take players on. But again, they've been there for a little while. They've got under the system. They understand what's required of them, and they're like flowing at the moment. They're probably you would say kind of like peak, right? Liverpool again, they've been there for 2-3 years under a winning team almost. So it's a case of we've just got these guys now. Not to say that they're the right guys, or not to say I want better than Timo and I want better than Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, but
for us to have that level, one, we either give them 4 seasons to achieve that, or we go out and spend 70-80 million quid on.
But the thing is, before we attack the players, all right?
I understand. I know you're not. For top 4, Iggy. For top 4, they're good enough. Listen, for top 4, by the way, I want to make it clear.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah,
those 3 teams. Yeah, those 3 teams that you are talking about, they are on a different trajectory, different ambition, and the target and the ambition of the whole club, not just the team and the manager. The whole club is to reach for those awards, if you like, those trophies, that the top honors. That's where they're set at. So Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal are on that trajectory. We're not there. But I'm not talking about we're not there just on the players. It's too easy to say Werner and Brennan Johnson and whatever and whatnot. But as a club, as a structure, as the ethos of the club, that winning mentality, We are not there. We are exactly where we're meant to be. And I said it in this morning, between 4th and 7th place. That's where we're at in terms of where the club want to be, which is making it getting top 4. There's no thing from the club to say this year we'll be fighting to bring in trophy home, or we'll be fighting to compete for the league, or we're not doing any of that. So how can we attract those players that you want to attract if we don't first, as a club, set that out there to say this is what we want to achieve? Come to Tottenham because we want to be fighting for things in the same level as Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal are. We're not doing that. We don't send that vibe out. So how can you expect to have the players of that level? Do you see what I mean? So the mentality change has to happen within the club itself, starting from the very top to say this year we mean business. Then
Iggy,
once you've done that, you set out the project.
But that's not my
but,
question.
winning
but
right?
project.
Iggy, we've
I'm
got
not-
our
but that's not-
Tottenham
but-
back. But we've got our Tottenham back, boys. We're playing good football. Come on,
We are
guys.
we're playing
Okay.
good football. I'm enjoying the football a lot better. I just don't think that within the structure, within the club itself, anything has changed to make me
You've
think
taken
that
my
we should be.
question, Iggy. You've gone off on a tangent here. My question.
It's not.
right?
It's not a tangent. It fits in what you're saying. You want players.
No, it is. You're
want-
talking.
you-
You're,
you
no,
want-
no,
you
no,
want
no,
league-
no. I never asked. I want players. I'm asking you guys. The players we've got at the club, right? The wingers: Solomon, Hill, Werner, Johnson.
Are
Kulu.
they good to win stuff? No. Are they good to get you top 4? Yes. There you go. Let me answer it that way. Let me answer it a different way.
No, because I don't know. No, because you're saying the ambitions of the club, where I'm asking your opinion on these players to win trophies.
No,
Right.
these players will do what they've set out to do this season. Get you between a Champions League spot and Europa. That's where we're at.
Okay,
Here.
so let's say
We're
okay,
at
so
the
let's
level
say-
where we should be. No
right,
more.
Let's say next season or the season after, and the board, they want to win trophies. This is hypothetical here. The 5 wingers we've got at the club, are they of the quality to take us to
No.
that level? Because if the answer is no, I want them all gone. That's why I'm against them, because I don't believe they're at that level.
if they
I don't
are,
believe they will get Kulu's the only one I think can, in my view. But then half the fan base hate him anyway. So
right. If the ambition of the club is to achieve the things that you want, then the players that we currently have are not good enough to achieve those things. That's number 1. 2, however, I'll say these players will stay because what their club want to achieve, top 4 football or Champions League football or European football, is good enough. So they will fit the agenda. It's as simple as that. What you want and what this club has set out as two different things.
I get it. They
That's what I'm
suit the
saying,
agenda
man.
of the club, right? But if the agenda became trophies, because most fans think, listen, the reason I'm asking is because a lot of fans think some of these players keep them.
We're not going to win a league with these players, if that's what you're getting at.
There's a lot of fans
No.
who think otherwise, which is why I'm asking the question. Lee, do you think any of these players, these 5 wingers, are good enough for silverware? Like top 4, we know. I think we're going to get top 4. I said it back in October. I said it, and I've stuck by it. I think we're going to get top 4. But do you think they can win silverware? These wide players that we've got.
No, I think you're right. I think the only one that I would say, if you put them all up in a row and say, you know, who you keeping out of that lot, I think the only one that I would keep for his work rate is Kulu, because he makes things happen with his work pressing and stuff like
And
that.
not everyone
whereas-
agrees with that.
No, they probably don't. But I don't think it. There's a lot of hatred for him, but I get frustrated with him.
I think
But
he's
I don't hate him
frustrating.
he's a frustrating player.
That's a good word.
But he's
frustrating.
you know that he's got it in him. Whereas the other guys, we keep going on about their pace and stuff like that. I've still seen only a couple of examples of them ever trying to take a man on and use their pace, unless it's in a counter-attacking situation, which is where Brennan's hype came from. He came from a team in Nottingham Forest where basically all of his output was from counterattacks because he used his pace, but we don't do that as much at the moment. So it shows what he's good and not good at. And I'll tell you what, we remembered about a week or so ago where Ange said, I'm surprised he started so many games, because that's not what he was brought in for, right? Because of injuries and stuff like that. yesterday, I might have read this slightly different, and anyone can have their opinion and stuff like that. But the fact that Ange started Johnson over Timo on the left gives me a tiny little bit of hope that if there is going to be a little shuffle in the summer, that means that he's not going to get his contract, because otherwise he would have started him, and he didn't. He could have started Timo, but no, he took Johnson from that right and put him on the left over
I wonder
Timo.
what I think.
I love that.
I was
thought that was
intrigued by
great.
what the thinking behind it was. Why he chose Brennan Johnson on the left-hand side ahead of Timo.
Maybe because he just generally thinks he's a slightly better player,
Instead of keep cutting inside on the right,
or passing backwards.
he'll have him on the left to go on the outside.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I don't. You're right, Sel. If we're led to believe that next year we want to go for it, we want to have a go. And I'm sorry, but those players have got to. We've got to upgrade those players.
Listen, it's very easy to work out. You've only got to look at how many of your players could get into those teams that you're talking about, the City, Arsenal, and Liverpool. How many of those? Arguably, you probably 3-4 players, maybe. Yeah, Van der Ven, the goalkeeper, perhaps.
I think
Madden
any
and
of
Son.
those.
Udogie and Porro are big shouts. They're performing.
Yeah, Udogie and Son.
Van.
So maybe so half of our team, maybe arguably.
Madison.
Do you see what I mean? So once you do it like that, it's very easy to see where your shortfalls are.
Yeah, but I do think that the other teams, they would take Kulu, because he's, when you take Kulu in isolation, he's shown that he can score goals. He's shown that he can take on a player. He's shown that he's
Creates
alert.
a lot, man.
He's shown that he can create lots of chances.
He's
shown that he's willing to take risks. He's shown that he's got stamina. He doesn't get injured easily. He's shown that he can hold up a ball. He's shown that he can be strong and put a tackle in. He's shown that he can track back. I mean, there's very little things that Kulu hasn't shown us to show that he's a quality player. He's a quality player. He's frustrating. He's also shown us that in abundance, and he's also shown us that he can be a bit predictable. But out of all of our front line, let's exclude Son from this, because Son is our elite player. He is the one player that you can count on that he will cause problems for the other team in one of the aspects that I just identified. Whereas with the other wingers that we have, there's games where they're literally awful. And you just don't want to see him on the pitch. I don't think Kulu's ever been that bad that you just want him off the pitch. Or certainly when I've seen him, I haven't been that upset with him. There's been games where he's not played well, but not so bad that I've been so frustrated that I want him off the pitch.
Maz, I think when Kulu has games where he really gets criticised and people say, get him off, I think normally that happens when the whole team stinks.
Yeah.
When the whole team stinks, he seems to be part of it.
But then he's the only one when the whole team stinks that runs his arse off constantly.
And do you know what? We are so much better on the right side when Kulu's playing, because Porro gets protection to be more ambitious.
Exactly.
Whereas when Emerson, when we've got on the right Johnson or whoever else we play there, the right wing back position, they tend to target us.
On that side.
Yeah.
By the way,
this is why these players. Sorry, so but with the likes of Son and Kulu, this is why they get it more than anyone else. When we're not playing well, it's mainly because these guys are not having a good game as well. So, or whether it's a combination of everything. But the difference is when a team's not playing well, those players get it more than any other player in that team, because you can almost expect a shit performance from everyone else is more acceptable than the likes of Son and Kulu. And why is that? Why do they get it more than anyone else? Why is it more acceptable to have a number 3 or a number 6 or a number 4 have a shit game? That's all right. But we're going to give it hard to these two because the level of expectation should be equal right across the board, not just on 1 or 2 players. That's all I'm saying.
Johnson, though, I agree with you, Stel. Johnson, he done a few things well in that game. He was aggressive, right, and he did a lot of running and pressing. But if you take his goal out, he was awful. I didn't think that he was great. And listening to the show last night, I thought the level of delusion as to how Johnson played, I found it amazing that everyone deemed that he played really well. I don't think he played really well at all. He was
No,
so frustrating.
It's exactly the same with Richarlison, right? You can't take away. Listen, as much as we don't like Richarlison, you can't take away from him that he does run a lot, right? He does press, but there's no output, and that's the difference. Kulu presses and he makes chances, and there's output from it. Whereas with the other guys, there isn't, and that's the difference. And for me, I'd rather have a player that does that than guys that are just they're pressing, but they're just running around for 70 minutes, but there's no output from it.
But Lee, you just agreed with me.
I didn't say I wasn't disagreeing with you. I was just doing a comparison with Richarlison. I was saying that when people say, "Oh, yeah, he played well," he was pressing, blah blah blah. Yeah, but I think the same with things like Gallagher and stuff like that. They run around, but where do you see any output from it?
I don't want Gallagher.
Exactly.
I don't want Gallagher.
And the thing is, and another thing as well, and this is why I wanted to talk about this.
Pape Sarr's better. Pape Sarr's better. I'll say it.
But surely, in an Ange system, the minimum requirement is that they do what you just said, Lee: pressing, working hard, running all over the place. Right? That is the Ange system, right? And
that should be a minimum requirement.
Exactly, right? And everyone's seen Johnson do that for the first time in God knows how long. And they're all going nuts, saying, "Oh yeah, he's got potential. Yeah, he's got potential."
I think there's an element of people out there that desperately want these guys to do well. We all do. Listen, no one's. But I think there's an absolute desperation, and when they do get criticised, they feel the need to defend them. And I get it. I understand the thinking, but that's the reality of it. We desperately want them to do well. And I think there was a comment I saw as well earlier on. I can't remember who wrote it. It said top 4 is winning our title, and I think that's what I was trying to get at earlier on about the ambition of the club. Is top 4 for us is like winning the title. I think that's the belief of the board and what the club want. So for that, we have the right team.
But for me, that's then, and we're going to go into the whole like Levy out thing and everything now.
No, that's what I'm getting. My belief is that that's what the club want.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you.
Guys, say this because there's some comments I want to bring up at the end of the show, towards the end about this stuff, right? Because a lot's been said this week. I just want to quickly move it on to the. No, let me move it on because otherwise we're not going to get through the game. So. Look, I'm not going to ask you guys if you think the sending off was a sending off. I'm assuming everyone thinks, it was a red. But what I want to ask you is this. Look, McGinn got sent off. Konza even looked at him and said, come on, man, think. Because he was looking for a bit of, I guess, sympathy or backup. Even his own teammates were like, come on, man, you know what you did. What I want to speak about, though, is the man that drew that foul, right? Now, Udogie, he's 20 years old. He's not had great games every week. He's had games where he's actually passed it to the striker. I think he did one against Chelsea. Didn't he set up, what's his name? The guy that striker for
Chelsea.
No, he did it.
He set up Tony, didn't he? He passed it back to Tony.
Yeah, Brent.
So he's had his moments, but overall, he's been a solid player. Listen, he pocketed Leon Bailey against Villa, owned him, but that foul he drew, and this is where the Chicken Royales, the Ben Davies, I don't want to see him at the club. He gets the ball, he skips past one, he skips past two. He can dribble, man. He can actually beat a couple of players. He creates the overload. Aston Villa are in panic now, like, shit, he's got through us. Bang, McGinn wipes him out. He got us the red card because out of frustration, they couldn't handle it. And are we overhyping him, or have we got a top player on our hands? Because for me, Lee said that Pape Sarr was man of the match. I don't disagree with that. But if I was to argue it, it would be because maybe Udogie was man of the match. I thought Udogie was top. Like, what do you guys make of Udogie, guys?
Again, I think he's another solid, consistent, had a couple of wobbles, but we can let those go. Solid, consistent, young player who's got the potential to be absolutely fantastic. Really good. And again, he shows you what the others can't do. And this is what I've been saying, even going into some of the midfielders and the likes of Højbjerg and stuff like that. When you can get the ball in your own half, and you've got the balls to take it to past a player when you see a space or you see an opportunity, whereas other people don't. Although Højbjerg did pull off a cracking one yesterday in the second half, I must admit, where he just turned in between two people and went forward. That was great. But anyway,
A little
I'm going to big
pivot.
him up. The little pivot was great.
Højbjerg
But-
does that once in a while. He does a little
Yeah,
something.
he does. Yeah, every now and again. It's like he has to build up
And he
to it.
played a good pass at the end of it as well.
It's like, do you know what it is? It's like a Street Fighter special move. He has to get a combo in, and then he builds up his power meter, and every now and again he just does a special move. But yeah, no,
He's got a little power button.
yeah, he has. Power up.
You can only use it once a game.
Yeah, once again. But yeah, listen, he's going to be a great player. He's young. He's fearless. He can travel through the lines. He's got the confidence to do it, and that's all you want in a player. And he can only get better. You know, barring injury and stuff like that, he can only get better. So he's another one that we've got to protect from being snatched away from us or tempted away from Levy selling him. Because if we are going to ride this train out over the next 3 years with Ange, all of those guys across the back line have got to be there on that train. So we've got to protect him.
I think that Vicario, love him. Porro, love him. Romero, I'm not going to say I love him. I think he's really good. But he hasn't quite won me over. But he's a great player. BDV, absolutely love him. He's my favourite player. Udogie, brilliant. If we can keep those 5 together, then that's a good basis for us moving on as a club. Assuming that Levy leaves or does something.
Listen, I'm in line with you guys, man. I agree, Lee, with what you just said. At the end of the day, with any good teams, man, it starts from a solid base, and I think the defense, like Matt said, that's as good as any to start with. And you think that Romero was the one that was holding it all together in the past, and now all of a sudden we're talking him as being a weak link of the 5. It's incredible how much we've grown in that aspect. And in terms of Udogie, what more can be said that you guys haven't covered, man? He's confident. He's he will try things, and he would, he's good defender as well. Like, I know he's good at going forward, but he's actually really good at defending. Sometimes,
do you know what he's really good at, Iggy? So just what you're saying, do you know what he's really good at? And Romero's good at this as well. Their timing of just tapping the ball away from a person when it's in front of them or behind them, their timing of just getting a toe on that ball is they're so consistent with that. They're so good at just watching the ball, spotting that exact moment. It's like, right, now I've got my chance. Bang. That's what he's great at. He's really good at that.
At the beginning of the season, he was getting those meaningless yellow cards, and that seems to have gotten better at that. But on a yellow card, you'd have to take him off because you're worried about him getting a second yellow. Things like that has improved, and if you can cut out those mistakes, he can be a really, really top left back. I hope he goes on all the way to become one of the best in the world in this position.
You know what? Another thing as well that's characteristic of all those players individually and Vicario is they never give up. They never give up, right? And I think for me, that's amazing. To have a back 4 that individually, even if they're playing bad or they have a bad moment, they pick themselves up during the game and they turn things around. Even Udogie, the Arsenal game, he had a horrible 20, 30 minutes, but he was one of our best players by the end of the game because he never gave up. Again, Romero, if you think at Aston Villa, I think he had a really poor first half. Second half, he comes out and he's solid.
I think there's a really good unity, Maz, within that defence and goalkeeper.
Yeah.
There's the high fives, fist bumps, chest bumps, and at the end of every game, they celebrate a clean sheet. You can see it. So I think that was missing for a lot of the time in the past. But listen, we've got to keep our best players, because if you've got the best teams in the world coming looking at Spurs and say, you know what, we can pinch Vicario, we can get Udogie, we can get Porro. Once I start doing that, you'll never. But with the ambition within the club, I'll go back to what I said earlier, has to grow. Otherwise, these guys say, look, we've done the most we can do here. We need to kick on now. Ambitious players will go to ambitious clubs. It's just simple maths, really.
Another top
what
player.
I would say is, from Udogie's point of view, he's got potential to be that good player. You can see that personally. I think the things that he lacks is maybe knowing when to lay the ball off or play the ball through. Because one thing I see him, and maybe that's the style that Ange is asking him to play, is often I see with be it Werner or be it Johnson in the game yesterday, there are opportunities when people were running into space behind defenders and he doesn't play them in. Now, I know he likes the ball at his feet and he likes to take people on. And quite possibly, Ange just told him, whenever you get the ball, cut inside and just, I don't know, see how far you can get or something like that and then lay it off. Whereas that's been asked of him more. But I think if he learns just to mix it up a little bit in terms of knowing when to release the ball, when to look up, play wingers in or play people. Even Son made a run a couple of times, like across the middle from behind, where balls could have been laid off. But he seems to be able to want to keep the ball at his feet and just drive through players almost. And, you know, he does it well. And kind of like recovering the ball also, you know, he's big, he's strong, and he knows it. And he plays to his strengths. So he's got that potential to be a quality left-sided player. He could even play further forward, to be honest.
I think the same is said for Porro, right? We say the same thing about Porro. He could play a bit further forward, maybe as a right winger. So we've got very good wing backs. I do want to bring up another player.
Backup though. We do need good backup because you're going to get them two getting injured off and on. It was
mate,
it was absolutely
don't let Mr. Post Office hear you say that word.
What's that?
You don't need backups. We need players, good players in positions to rotate and
He's right, though. He's right.
He's absolutely right.
We're referring to them as backups. It tells you what the issue is already.
But someone just said in the comments,
right? Udogie's number one, Porro's number one.
Absolutely. But someone's just said in the comments, we need 4 or 5 players. I think we need more than that. We can't rely on.
We can't 8 or 9 minimum.
Yeah,
especially if we're going to play 2 games a week next year.
Yeah, even if we get two good quality of like a Udogie or Porro or Van de Ven level wingers, what happens when we're taking them off and then we're going down to... We can't bring Brennan Johnson on in the Champions League game or a Timo Werner or someone like that if we're playing, you know, a Bayern Munich or something like that. You can't do it. We need to have replacements for them that are at that kind of level as well. Otherwise, it's going to get very tiring for the players if we need to play them 90 minutes. That's the issue more than anything.
Lee, he's Mr. Reliable. He can come on anyway.
Yeah, we love Ben. We're going to give him a statue outside the ground.
We did score another couple of goals. Werner scored a goal. Not a bad finish at all, actually. Heung-min Son, he scored a bullet from...
What?
Yeah, it was a good finish, 100%.
Who?
Timo, yeah, it was a good finish. Placed that in the bottom. Yeah, it wasn't a tap. Was it a tap?
You see, the thing is, when the pressure's off and the game's won against 10 men,
he's still got to do it, right? He's still got to do it.
You shouldn't have got drawn in.
Where was he?
You was doing so well, Stel. You was doing so well.
Well, I'm honest. I can't lie, you see. I can't lie.
Team, right?
I know some people want to sugarcoat it.
I'm more worried about Stel's spreadsheet than
Villa are a top 4 team, and he's adjusted your spreadsheet now.
In fact, let me bring up the spreadsheet because it's funny you mentioned that. I was waiting for this.
Get him in there.
So, if we now look
all
at
the colours are off. All the colours are off.
Right. If we look at the updated spreadsheet.
Oh, he's taking it off.
Sava and Johnson get their name on there.
So now, if we look at the top 8 games, Brennan Johnson, Timo Werner and Johnson combined have now turned up in 33% of the games. So they've gone missing for 77%. If we look at the top 12...
if they didn't do that, it'd be a worse number,
that
right?
stat. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just letting you know. Against the top 12 teams, it drops to 31%. So if we look at the bottom 8, that still remains... They've turned up in 70% of those games. So I'm just putting context.
Overall, they've done 99% better.
Do you know what I see in all those games? The same 3 points up for grabs, man.
Do you know what I mean, Iggs?
Yeah. And thank God we've got Heung-min Son, who's won us most of them.
Listen,
Thank God for
listen,
Sonny, because he's won most of the points there.
at the
I
end
love
of the
Sonny,
day-
man. There's people out there that hate Sonny or that think he's
Love
shit or not
Sonny.
elite.
You know?
So just go figure.
Go on, JP,
They're
go on.
scoring goal. He's scoring a goal and he's making an assist, which is we can slag him off as much as we want, but that's what we want him to do, right?
JP, if Sonny is under criticism, or Sonny can be hated and spoken bad about, and he's one of our best players at the club, nobody's safe.
I want to bring up Sonny. I want to bring up Sonny.
Vicario's time will come as well.
Right,
Look at the
let
players
me
like that.
let me
He
bring
made
up
2
Sonny.
saves, but he had a shit game.
Right. In the 91st minute, Kulu gets to the byline, squares it back. Sonny smashes it in. Again, pressure's off. The game was done 2-0. Once they got the red card, the game was over. But
Took it well though.
right, I want to bring something up here. Okay. Now, Heung-min Son is the 4th joint top scorer in the Premier League on 14. He's 4 off the top scorer, 2 off second place, and 1 off third. And he's missed 6 weeks of the season. So the same applies to Mohamed Salah. He's 3rd, 1 goal more than Sonny, and he's missed 6 weeks of the season. So
he'll catch Watkins. I don't know if he'll catch Haaland though.
So what you're saying still is Haaland is overrated, right?
Haaland is way overhyped.
Yesterday he was poor, man. He was poor yesterday.
I think Haaland is actually overrated. We'll get on to that though. But the point
oh shit! Is he just a good John Carew? Yeah.
I think he might be, man.
Box office was bang on the money all along.
Bang on the money, Alex.
Right?
Yes,
Big
Alex.
up, Alex.
Let me speak to Son first. So Son, he's
no Akinfenwa.
He's freaking hell. He's 14th, right? Sorry, he's got 14 goals, 4th in the league, right? Now, this is where I need to just explain why this is so impressive. It's not because he's just got 14 goals, because Richarlison's actually 10th on 9 goals, I think. This comment here from Just Fly. Richarlison, minutes per goal, 135. Son, minutes per goal, 143. So what he's saying is Son only Richarlison scores more goals with less minutes. But let's not get facts in the way when slagging off our own players. So he's saying that he's got facts to prove that Richarlison does better than Son. However, and this is where my spreadsheet is groundbreaking, right? The spreadsheet I've made is groundbreaking. Let's be honest about it. When you look, right, at the top games, Arsenal away, Son turned up. Richarlison came on, didn't do nothing. Aston Villa away, Son turned up and he got an assist. Aston Villa at home, nothing. Brighton away, Son. Brighton at home, Son. Liverpool at home, Son and Richarlison. So that's Richarlison's first top-level action. Man City away, Son, assist and goal. Man United away, Richarlison got a header. Man United at home, nothing for either. Newcastle at home, Son got 2, Richarlison got 2, fair enough. So overall, Son carries us in the top 8 games.
Chew these stats. Son has 22 goals and assists. Goal contributions. Yeah. Right. And Richarlison has 13, with 11 of them being goals against the poor sides and 2 of them being assists.
Yeah.
Are we really doing this, guys?
I know. It's just like...
Well, we have to, because there's fans. Just Fly. He's trying to say, don't let facts get in the way. Your facts mean nothing when all you do is turn up against Southampton, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Burnley. Like, at the end of the day, when it matters, Son turns up. He's the number 1 player in the club when it comes to showtime.
Have a look at a comment.
We shouldn't have this conversation. We should do it. I'm with C Cubed on this. I think every time this comes up now, we should just silence as a protest.
G Mars, Son has missed 3 big chances all season. Do you know how insane that is compared to other players? And G Mars, Son is the number 1 or number 2 most clinical forward player in Europe. In Europe. His XG is ridiculous in Europe.
I don't get players. I don't get people.
He would get into any of the top teams currently. I think even Pep would have him.
I don't get the level of criticism.
Like, it's not even a competition, man.
But it's like I don't get people that
But don't let facts
criticize
get in
him.
the way, just fly. Okay.
People that criticize him, I know for a fact there's so many fans out there of other teams that would have a player like Son in their team, hands down. There's no two ways about it. I know Arsenal fans would, City, Liverpool, loads of fans I've spoken to. They one of their favourite players, and they would have him in their team is Son. Everyone loves Son. All of them. So the only criticism that he gets more criticism of Spurs fans than he does of opposing fans. It's mind-boggling.
Iggy, but
The most underrated player in the Premier League over the last 10 years.
he's like
9
Kane. He
years.
deserves trophies. The thing is, look, I'm reading a couple of comments in the chat. I'm not going to get all rattled by it. But my point is this: do I think Richarlison is shit? No, I don't. I think he's got something about him, but he only turns up against the small teams. And my argument has always been this: yeah, you can only beat what's in front of you. But if you want to win the league, if you want to win the FA Cup, if you want to win European trophies, you ain't playing small teams. It's the big boys that you've got to beat. And it's the big boys you're going to meet in semi-finals and finals. Like the final we got to in the Carabao Cup, who did we play? Man City. The final we got to in the Carabao Cup under Redknapp, Man United. Under Poch, Chelsea. Champions League final, Liverpool. We're not playing Southampton, Burnley, Crystal Palace when it comes to crunch time. So what is the point of Richarlison?
Cliff Jones.
Congratulations to Sonny on joining me. Yeah, he's a fifth-time top goal scorer. Yeah.
Fifth all time, you know. All time.
You can't compare the two. You can't. And also, how many attacks break down because Richarlison's involved?
Listen, Stel. In all fairness, those finals that you talk about, we had Kane there and we didn't score. So it's not only the
I was wondering when she'll come up.
JP, say that again.
Big up, Cube.
Kane didn't really kind of like put the ball in the net in those games, did he? When you come to play Man City in the finals, when you come to play Liverpool in the Champions League finals.
I think the Champions League final, he was selfish and played when he shouldn't have played because he wasn't 100%. So I put down Kane. I thought and Poch for not having the balls to drop him and basically threw Lucas Moura under a fucking bus.
I'm just making a devil's advocate point about your argument about Richarlison. We need better than Richarlison in those games. But we've had Kane in those games and done fuck all.
It's only one game. It's only one final we've played in, really. Okay, the Carabao Cup against Man City. Well, we're not winning anything with Ryan Mason as manager. When he's taking off our best player during the game, like
yes, my point is, if Richarlison was striker, it still wouldn't matter because the shit behind him.
Yeah, okay, I can agree with that. But who would you rather have in the final, JP? Richarlison, Son, or Kane?
No, you'd rather Kane in there, 100%. But if you don't give him, but we know what he's capable of. But if we don't give him, and I'm not saying we don't give Richarlison the ball. Well, we know where Richarlison likes to score, right? So if we give him the ball in the right place, he can tap it in.
Against the lower team, yes.
Listen, man, at the end of the day, 90th minute, 0-0, one chance only. Your striker's clean through. Who do you want at the end of that? Son or Richarlison?
Harry Kane or Son? Son. I want Son.
Come on,
Human
man.
Son.
Timo or Richarlison? Who do you want?
We're talking now. Son's out.
Come on,
Richarlison. Out of those two, do you
know what's funny? Timo Werner's more likely to run into the goalie with the ball. Richarlison's more likely to fall over as he is about to shoot. So I don't know what's worse.
I think the bottom line was
which one gives us the best rebound? Which one gives us the best rebound?
We may get a corner off Timo.
Who wins a corner?
He's four behind, 4 goals behind Haaland. And the reason why Haaland's going to win it is because the team create more chances.
Imagine having to pick a striker for a 1-on-1, and your criteria is who can win the corner. Oh my god! Oh, that's too funny. All right, look, they did score both.
Son can catch Haaland, but the reason why he won't because City create far more chances in the game, and he will ultimately score out of it a lot more. Even though he misses a lot, he scores a lot. But that's because the chances they create for him is so far superior than any other team in the Premier League.
Could you imagine that if Kane went to Man City?
I said that
It would be
ages
no
ago.
point watching the league, honestly. It would just be like,
crucifying those goals, wouldn't he? He would have absolutely pissed
oh my
that
God.
Premier League goal record in about 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But having said that, Haaland's numbers for his age, blimey.
Paul,
blimey,
you've missed
is all
the
I can
point.
say.
You've missed the point. Origi scored against us in the final. They were already 1-0 up. The game was, they'd won it off that 1-0. But your point is, if I said to you, Paul, next Champions League final, who do you want? Origi or Heung-min Son? Who are you picking? Richarlison or Son? Who are you picking? You're picking Son. That's where the argument ends. Like, bringing up Origi means nothing to me. I mean, who would you not? I mean, Son conversation over. Let me end it.
Son, man.
Yeah.
So look, we won 4-0.
The headline was
Yeah,
right. It was a happy Sunday.
Oh my God, what a pun. Super Sun Day. League table. We're now 2 points off Villa. We've got a game in hand. The game in hand is against Chelsea, which sucks because our record there is awful. I think they've won tonight 3-2. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
Newcastle 3-2.
Do you know what looks most impressive about that still? The goal difference. Look at us and Man United.
Goal difference. Yeah, and we've gone ahead of Villa as well. Goal
That's
difference, yeah.
20 over Man United, who are underneath us.
That is shocking from Man United.
I don't know where the hell that's come from in a way, but geez, look, that's massive, isn't it?
Well, you can see they goal poor. They don't score goals. They've scored less than West Ham. They've scored less than Brighton.
I don't even know where Chelsea is, but I don't know if you can scroll down.
Oh, I'm only looking at the top teams,
Okay.
JP. I'm only looking at the top teams, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But look,
we're only focusing on the top teams. That's true.
From this position, right? Are you putting Spurs as favourites to get top 4 on the basis that we've got some tough games coming ahead, but Aston Villa have got the exact same games? They've got a very similar run-in as us, and they're still in Europe. If they've got a 0-0 draw at Ajax, which then comes back to Villa Park. If they win that game, they're through to another 2 rounds of European football, whereas we don't have that. I believe they're at the Cups. Or are they still in the FA Cup? Let me check. Does anyone know?
I think they're still in the FA Cup, aren't they?
They've got more games than us. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
Who are your favourites to get top 4, guys? Are you fancying us now? Are you saying, do you know what? I see Spurs getting this. Bear in mind, we don't know what's going to happen with Van der Ven at the moment. We're waiting on the news for that. But we do have Dragusin. At least we've got cover. It's not Ben Davies or Dyer or Chicken Royale. We've got a half decent centre back there.
I mean, personally, I'd say I'm not really fussed about top 4. If we get it, fabulous. If we get
so negative, you're so negative.
I know, but I'm not like I've been burnt enough times of getting in the top 4 and having money to spend on the better players and ending up with dross. So in a way, I'm not worried about that. But I think we've probably got the favourable run purely because they've got European games to play as well. So, and we saw how tired they were based on playing Thursday and Sunday. We've only got 1 game a week. Be it the fact that, like we've got to play the top 3, they've got to play the top 3, right? So it will be interesting. But I think it'll also be interesting to see if they suddenly change their game against those top 3 now. Are Villa starting to crack a little bit in terms of wanting to do their damnedest to finish in the top 4? Because literally, like you would have said, if they played their game yesterday, they could have taken the game to us, as opposed to they know they've got a 5-point gap. Let's see if we can not lose this game. Because it seemed like that was the mentality yesterday. How do they play against the others now? Is it like flapping time? I think it's flapping time for them.
The thing is, if you're Unai Emery, your track record is winning European silverware. They've got a great chance of winning the European Conference League, which is okay. It's a Mickey Mouse European trophy, but it's a European trophy, and
I'd take it.
Yeah, no, so would I. But it would also automatically qualify you for the Europa Cup, which is a step up from this season for them. So, is he more likely to be focused on that or the league? Because I don't think he can do both.
Personally, I think he would like to be known as coming to Villa and winning them something, right? After God knows how many years. So if he manages to get them a European trophy, he'll have that on his
Well,
CV.
the thing is,
it going to be great? Is it going to be great in a few years' time when he says, "Oh yeah, I got Villa into the top 4"?
do you think the way you got to look at it is like, what have they got more chance of? Have they got more chance of winning the Conference League going into Europa, or are they going to have the financial clout to get into the Champions League and make something of it with the players they've got, or have they got money to spend? Because if you haven't got money to spend, and you know you only get a certain amount of money when you get to for the latter stages, then surely the better idea would be to try and focus on the Europa, because then you can get, or in the conference, then you can get, you know, if you win that, you can get into the Europa, have a good run in that, and progress from there.
I think they have a duty to challenge for both.
See us, Lee, doing anything different if we get to the top 4?
Exactly.
Well,
someone in the comments this morning,
in the video, we're winning the league next year. So
in the video this morning,
might as well do a double.
In the video I did this morning, someone exactly said that, in the comments, said that exact same thing, JP. It said, what difference will it make for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club if we make Champions League football or not?
We can attract better players, Iggy.
Do we?
We don't. We don't.
I'm literally taking the piss.
I'm literally taking the piss. But this is what I'm saying. So when he asked me that question, I was like, do you know what? What's all this sweat about making top 4 or not? What comes on the back of that? Do we do anything different? If we make Champions League football, we make Europa football. The difference is obviously the two competitions. It's clearly different, and more money and more revenue and all of that. But in the grand scheme of things, in terms of making the squad better, does it? It doesn't. No. So what's this hype about making top 4 or not?
The Europa next year would be better for us to progress as a team than the Champions League. 100%.
100%.
So there's no pressure. What's the pressure about chasing Champions League football? What is it?
We're gonna get top 4.
When we beat Arsenal and Conte got us in top 4, we literally went out and got what? Europa League players.
Yeah, so sometimes I do think to myself, I mean, it's ego, man. When it all comes down to it, it all comes down to ego. It's money. It's the fans.
I'm saying we're going to get top 4 regardless of what anyone thinks. I think we're better than.
I agree. I feel that too. But I'm saying when you actually break it down, what difference does it make making top 4 or not for us as a club?
Which is kind of what Ange said the other day, right? That's just getting in the Champions League is not going to progress us. In a way, what's going to progress us?
I think Ange needs to start. I think all right. This is Ange. If you're listening to me, this is what my advice to you is: stick to talking about football, your team, and your display and the coaching side of it. Do not take any. Don't take the front. Don't be a front for the director of football. Don't be a front for the football club. Just be a front for your team, your players, and your matches. Don't get involved in that stuff because the fans will look at what you say and will start thinking you're chatting shit. The moment you take yourself out of talking about the team and talking about the club, that's where you're going to lose the fans, in my opinion. So
he needs to shut up and
there you go. My point exactly. My point exactly, because you're pissing Maz off more about the fact that you're talking about that side of things than actually the actual football team.
Guys, let me get onto this because I want to have this discussion. Right, I want to have this discussion with you. Right. So Ange came out this week saying, we're not in a position where we can spend £100 million on a player, and I don't think we ever will be.
Isn't that the job of a director of football to talk that? Why is it his job?
Well, he was asked a question. I think this was a response to a question.
And my response is speak to the director of football.
All right, let me go through all the comments, and then you can bundle it up and tell me what you think. So he basically said he was asked if he agrees that if Champions League hinders a chance of improvement, developing the squad. He said, no, I don't. Your development is your development. If you keep getting stronger as a team, those kind of things don't even come into the equation, meaning top 4 shouldn't affect your development. You should be there all the time, but if that's your goal and thinking that is some kind of golden ticket, some endless riches, it's not the case. There's plenty of evidence this year to suggest that's not the case. And then he used an example saying there's a couple of teams who got into the Champions League last year that are playing in it this year. And are they having a good season now? It Does that guarantee anything the following season? I've said all along, I'm in no desperation to get something just for comfort or insurance. I'm here to create a team that wins things. For me, it defies logic. I'm not built that way. Basically, he goes on about development, and he's here to develop so that we can win things consistently, not just as a one-off. He speaks about the £100 million that he can't spend. Now, this caused a bit of a stir, and this was interesting. Off the back of Ange's comments, literally the day after, Eric Dyer comes out to say, of all the mentors you want to listen to, this chump, I just find it funny when I went to Tottenham Stadium and I see Levy out. I'm thinking, this guy over the last 10 years has built the best infrastructure in football, the best training ground, the best stadium, and the team during all the time I was there was relatively competitive, reaching a final in the Champions League. You never hear Tottenham in any of these FFP conversations. It's baffling to me that a Tottenham fan can ever be upset with someone who looks after the club. And today, Simon Jordan comes out on TalkSport saying he urges Spurs to spend sensibly in the summer to cement their place in the top 4 and not try to compete with Arsenal, Man City. So just to recap, Andrew's saying we can't spend £100 million on a player. 2 months after with the FFP Kings. He says top 4 don't matter. It's about developing the team. Eric Dyer says, what's your problem? You're the FFP Kings. And Simon Jordan says, just get top 4, be sensible. Is this not one big PR machine just working, preparing us for the
100%? All the levers. Levy's pushing all his levers. He's getting all the messaging out there.
So, I'll ask you the question again. What we answered when you have the top 3 fighting for top honours, they see where the club is at. So, the club, where they're at mentally, and then what their feelers that they're sending out, we are exactly where we're meant to be. So while we're talking about trophies, while we're talking about silverware, while we're talking about top 3, we're not in their level. We're never going to be in that level if this is the ambition.
Because we're waiting for the summer window to see what happens, aren't we?
Get used to Timo and Johnson still.
Yeah,
exactly. We're waiting for the 10-year youth development cycle that Stell was telling me about.
And also, Ange just by putting himself out there with his comments, Ange is building a rod for his back because he should not be involved in those conversations. You remember when Conte was always asked in the press conference about injuries, and he's like, why have I got to answer these questions? Why is the club doctor not here answering those questions? He was bang on the money. Everybody should be accountable for their job. So if they got an issue with injuries and people want to ask about their injuries, ask the fucking club doctor. Tell him to get involved in the press conference, and he answers those questions. The manager should be talking about the team, the players, and what's going on at training, how he sees the game ahead, and so forth. He should not be getting himself involved. He should let them take responsibility, and that's the problem that we do at Tottenham. We let the manager answer 360 degrees. He answers everything in every department. It's not his job to do that. And the quicker the manager's smarten up at it, let the director of football come to the press conference if they want to ask him questions about the transfer market. Club doctors about injuries. The manager or the coach in this case should only be answering things that are related to the first team and academy, whatever. And that's it. No more, no less.
Yeah,
for him, I'm saying it for Ange, not for anyone else.
How well did that work out for Conte doing that with the fans? How well did the report?
Indifferently, how's it worked out?
Well, I think the fans like
the same way it works out with every manager.
Yeah, but I think the fans like Ange. I think they've got.
I love Ange, and I'm saying this for him. I'm saying this for him to protect him. If he only answers the questions about the team, he can only be responsible for what the things he's answering for. He shouldn't be answering about transfer market, what money we got to spend. Why is he answering those questions?
Every manager gets asked that. Every manager gets asked, what's the plan for the summer? What's the transfers? Have any players you want to bring in?
Ask the director of football. Ask, what's his name? Paratici. Ask whoever. We've got people.
No manager says that. No manager says, ask the director of football. They all answer the question, don't they?
I think that's where they go wrong. I think it's wrong.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Why have Paratici there? What's the other guy that we brought in? Why have them there? Why are they there if they're not answering these questions? Those are the people responsible for that sector. I wouldn't go answer a question if I'm a manager or whatever, and they're asking me a question about IT. I'd be like, speak to the IT technician. What are you talking to me for? That's what he's there for.
Iggy,
that's the expertise.
Iggy, their contract is only to run from the 1st of Jan to the 31st of Jan, and from the 1st of end of
It's
July
like, you know, in
until the
mechanics,
season
you have
starts.
the guys in you know, in the electrics, you have the guys that so many different departments. One guy doesn't answer for someone else. They say, go and speak to the electric. You want to go about the electrics of the cars? Speak to the guy that's it's white, right?
This is Iggy.
I don't get it.
This is only a problem because of Tottenham Hotspur. Every other manager doesn't have this problem apart
Because
from Spurs, right? Of Levy.
if you're a
and our
manager of a
mentality.
club and you're answering a question that's been asked, you should be more confident than not that what you're answering is correct because you've been given that information by the club. I'm sure, right? Ange could be saying something that isn't even true, man. Or even worse, he's telling us the truth and then he'll get ruled out. He goes, we never told him that. And you've just created yourself a rod for your own back. That's what I'm trying to say. Avoid answer. I'll be like, listen, you want to talk about transfer market? Do it in the summer.
No, he
Angelo
wouldn't be
in the
saying-
comments.
He wouldn't be saying something that's untrue, though, would he? If he's told
No.
something, that's what he would say. And if he's
Yeah,
coming out saying-
Angelo is saying that basically Andrew's got no fear. He's going to tackle these questions directly, and that's a fair point.
he's
But
saying it.
I'm gonna say this: what he said in the last 3 or 4 days is the biggest load of shit I've ever heard, right? In a while, and this is my reason why. There's no way that Daniel Levy hasn't said to the manager, like he's done with every single other manager, you have to get me top 4 in Champions League, right? So for Ange to come out and say, what good does Champions League have to do? Well, if he doesn't get Champions League this season, he might get lit off. If he doesn't get Champions League next season, he's gone, right? There's no way. Or if he does keep him, he ain't going to back him and give him the players. And then Andrew's going to leave because he's not being backed, right? So what's the point of coming out and saying, oh, what's the point of us getting in Champions League? I thought he wants to win everything. He should say upon what his own standards are, because he always says this, that, yeah, I want to be in Champions League because I want to try and win it. He didn't say that about the Champions League. He says it about everything else, but not us getting into the Champions League. Why not? That's inconsistent. Another thing as well is, why should he knock down us spending 100 million? I thought we're there for P Kings. Why can Arsenal go and spend 100 million, or Liverpool, or Man City, and not Tottenham Hotspur? Seeing as we're in the top 10 richest clubs in the Premier League and in the world.
But you see
It's
that,
not-
and
It's not him, though, Maz, is it?
Right.
I'm sure he'd want to.
Exactly. So if it's not him,
then
he's
why
not
is he
in charge.
talking? Why is he talking about
Exactly.
it? This is my point.
Because
the moment you start
someone
speaking
must have
about
said to
something,
him.
you become responsible for it. My point, and going back to Angelo, I never said Angelo. By the way, the club doctor thing was something that came up when Conte was in charge. I didn't say that Postecoglou. My point is that people should be responsible and speak only that stuff that they are involved with. In Ange Postecoglou's case, he's involved directly with the first team. He should only be answering about that. When he starts talking about, we got 100 million, we can't do this with 100 million, or whatever it is that he says about stuff that to do with the club, listen, what will happen, that those comments will get put to the side for now, and then when the time comes, all of that shit will come to the surface, and he will be held accountable, not the people above that should be held accountable for.
Still, go back to Swansea X.
I can speak how I want,
right.
mate. You don't tell me what to do, man. Remember one thing: I'm my own boss here, not you, my friend. If you're bored of me talking, switch off.
He's saying Andrew's limiting expectations. He was the same guy who was saying to us we can dream about winning the fucking league. What limiting expectations?
I think
he's telling.
Man, he's got this habit of contradicting himself. For example,
yeah, he does.
And that's the problem.
This is the best one he did, yeah. I'm not here to win trophies now. I'm here to develop and build the team so that in the long term we can. But he also says, I don't stick around at clubs for more than 2-3 years.
He
Doesn't add
just
up,
needs
does
to
it?
shut up and do exactly what Iggy said. Talk about the football, talk about the team, and not
I'm
anything
saying
else.
mine is not a criticism of Ange. Mine is just
I know.
It's
something.
not
I
really.
want to.
It's not.
I'm defending the
I'm
guy.
backing
I
you up,
want him to.
Siggy.
Yeah, no,
I'm backing you up,
Maz, my
Siggy.
thing is because I care about Ange and
It
because
could
I
be
actually
right.
like the bloke. I'm saying
I do.
stick to that side of it, so you're not held accountable for things that you shouldn't be held accountable for. The club should be held
It
accountable
could
for that
be.
stuff.
I think you're 100% right in saying that, but it's just a British thing, isn't it? No one comes in front really, like from other clubs or anything like that. It's always the manager that gets posed all of those questions.
Do you know what I think is
Injury,
going on?
finance, every like whenever there's a transfer window, every press conference starts with, "So who are you looking at? Are you going to get anyone in?" That's just how it is, isn't it? It's different in Italy and it's different in Europe, right? Because that's not how it is. But it's a British thing.
I think, right, what's going on here? There's a guy watching from Twitch, Davios. I've just posted the link to the show so you can watch it on YouTube because you said some kind of link's broken. I've just put it back in the chat. I think Tom81, I don't know what comment you're talking about. Can you repost it and I'll put it up
again?
Yeah, type it again. I think what's happening is, right, if he throws the players under the bus, he's screwed. Because one, fans will turn against him. Two, the players will switch off for him. So he's praising the players and telling us they're better than what they are to motivate the players. So when they're called upon, they do better than what they would do because he's made them feel that they're part of the plan or that they're wanted. With the ownership, he's not going to call them out. He's not going to dig them out. He's just going to keep it sweet and say things like, I'm in charge of transfers and that, because that way he keeps the heat off them and he comes across as like the man for the job because he can handle Levy. And likewise, when it comes to the media and the fans, he's going to tell us what we want to hear, but he's also going to tell us, look, I've got my ways as well. Respect me. I'm the manager. It's almost like he's trying to please everyone because in his head, and this is just what I think, right? There's no evidence to back this. I think in his head, he believes the best chance he's got is bringing everyone together, keeping everyone sweet. And if he can do that, it gives him some leverage to then go into the boardroom and say, Daniel, I need to be backed a little bit differently. I need to be backed like you've not done before. And I think this approach puts him in a better position in that conversation. Now, whether Levy says yeah or no, different conversation. But I think that's what he's doing. But by doing this, he is building a very big rod on his back. There's no doubt.
Still, is this not what Pochettino done in the beginning?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, right. And how did that work out for Pochettino?
Yeah. How has it worked out for all of them?
Yeah,
If he's not going to be in 3 years,
if
he's not going to be in 3 years, doesn't matter what he says, right?
But the issue is with Poch, he said things like, call me coach, not manager. And before the Champions League final, he said things like, I might not be here after the final. Right? Whereas Ange, okay, bear in mind, Poch said that 4 years down the line once he was broken. So I'll give him some credit. I think Ange is looking at the situation and trying to find the way that best gets the most for what he needs to do his job. And I think this is how he's decided to play it. Do I agree with it? Kind of, yeah. Do I think it'll work? I doubt it. We'll find out.
Yeah, the counter to what we've been saying.
The transfer window's open, right? He's got to get the most out of with what he's got.
Yeah, look, he's a brilliant manager, right? We're not. I'm sure what he's doing is the best for the team, but we're looking at the bigger picture, right? And the bigger picture tells us what's going to happen with him. And he said some real dodgy things in the last month. You know, I'm not going to, I stay at a club for 2, 3, 4 years. You know, we're not going to spend this, you know, I don't care about Champions League. Oh, let the fans dream big. It's all contradictory and confusing. The guy needs to do exactly what Iggy said, concentrate on the football, concentrate on finishing as high up in the league as possible. And then at the end of the season, he needs to go to Daniel Levy and say, look, are you going to back me or not? Otherwise, I ain't going to waste another few more years here and put us all out of our misery if he does that. Because I'd rather him do that.
All right, Maz, do you think, and that's the point I was making, do you think when he goes to Daniel Levy in the summer and says, you need to back me, he's got a better chance of being backed the way he's played it with everyone than to really say it as it is?
Only if he's got a backbone like Conte.
What, he sticks to his guns if he doesn't get
Yes.
backed, I'm out of here. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair play. That's fair play. Yeah, it makes sense.
Because
Lee, you've got to be quiet on
if he
this.
doesn't get
Oh, no,
backed and he goes, okay, I'll give it another season, and then he brings in more Timo Part 2 and Johnson Part 3 and
JP
God
can
knows
start
who
hosting the
else.
shows. I'm
Yeah,
not doing
exactly.
that.
It's going to be the same nonsense.
I told you last week, Timo, mate, is done. It's there.
I've got a bad feeling you're
Get
right.
used to it.
Yeah, Lee, what's your take on all this? These comments
I-
Ange is making,
I
Simon
think a
Jordan's
lot.
comments. Is this the
I
PR
think a
machine?
lot. Listen, Simon Jordan. I don't even want to talk about that guy. He's so far up Levy's arse, you can smell his breath when Levy speaks. I think some of the way that he says some of these things are taken out of context. I get what he's saying, right? I get that we don't have a target. Basically, what we do, I'm trying to build a team
It's like the
that is
ceiling, isn't it?
consistent and good. And things like top 4 and trophies, if the team's good enough, then those type of things should come naturally. I get that. Because then the expectation isn't too high when things don't necessarily go right, with the maybe not getting the players or whatever what we want to do. This whole thing about this, we're not going to be in a position to spend £100 million on a player. Good. I don't want to waste £100 million on a player. I'd rather scout and find 2 good Poros or Udogies at 60 million a pop and spend 120 million on 2 players.
But what if
Right?
that
I
100
just-
million
I
is the next
don't-
Harry Kane, though? What if that 100 million is the next Harry Kane?
You can't use Kane as an example.
Okay, what if
Come
the next
on.
100 million? What if the 100 million is the next Declan Rice, who's on the verge of leading Arsenal to a title?
But those type of people that are valued at £100 million who are at the top of the crop, they're generally the cream of the crop, aren't coming to Tottenham. We've said this 100 million times. We need to find the future Poros, the future Udogies in the winging areas. That's what I have faith that Ange can do and with the team can find. I still don't believe. Listen, and you're right. Some of the things that he does say, and the one thing that stuck out for me that I still can't believe for a second is this whole, and every player that comes in, I say yes, no, and all this kind of stuff, because there's no way that if you gave him a list of players, he's picked Timo out. There's no way that you give him a list of players, Brennan Johnson, he's picked out. Brennan Johnson's been on our radar for years before even Ange even existed, or on our radar. So that's absolute rubbish. And that's the stuff that he says that I think, well, now you've made a cock up here, because now you said something where we can all see that that's absolute rubbish, but you're almost like you're taking the flak because you're deflecting the heat away from someone else to keep everyone on board. And I think that's where it could backfire on him. And also this whole thing about the amount of time that he stays around, again, context. What he actually says is, generally, I only stay around 3 to 4 years because by that time I've won something. Everywhere I've gone, I've won something. So there's nothing left for me to win. Therefore, I see it as the best time for me to move on. This time at Spurs, that's different because we're not expected to be in that position. So, all bets are off. I don't think you can use his past tenures at different clubs to gauge how long he's going to be at Spurs, because he isn't going to a club that's expected to win something in that time frame. We hope he does, and we hope that the club back him so that he can do that. But we're in, 8 months into his tenure here, so there's absolutely no way that we can predict that. We have to. Our first insight into what could potentially happen will be this summer. That's why I'm just sat here enjoying the ride right now, and we'll see what the club's ambition is in the summer, and we'll go from there.
I do agree with Lee on this. I am waiting for the summer. I've said it on a couple of our shows. I'm waiting. I'm also waiting for Maz to say, I told you.
Yeah, listen,
I've
there's
been
plenty of
saying
people.
it since November. I started saying it since after the Chelsea.
I know you have. I just want to see, because I need to see this play out.
Deep down, that thing in your belly. What's that saying?
Deep down, I know. Yeah.
Always go with your gut feeling.
Everyone's saying spot on points. Everyone's got a valid point, but we just have to wait and see.
I just think the more Ange talks like this, the more he's going to get shafted.
Yeah, because all these comments are going to come back, and all it.
Yeah, at the moment, what's happening? Everything, all the receipts, all the receipts have been kept and stored away. Everything that he's saying right now, it's been stored away. And when the time comes, right, mark my words when I say that, when the time comes, all those receipts will come out of the filing cabinet, and then he's going to get absolutely pebbled. And that's my concern.
You know what? It'd be interesting to see what he says if it does get to receipt time, what he says there.
And I don't want that for him. This is my point. I don't want that for him. This is what I'm saying. Try and do it differently, Ange. But he's speaking about things, you know, he's speaking on all fronts. And it's commendable that he's responding to all of this stuff. I just think as a result of doing so, he will be held accountable for it.
I think he's trying to play the game
beyond his control. Yeah, listen.
He's trying to play the game.
He's playing the game, but
he's trying to keep it sweet.
But he's seen it. He's seen this game being played by previous managers.
It's the Levy
character. And
see, the thing is with him, and this is where it could crumble, right? From what I can understand of, and you'll understand this if you watched the whole documentary on him, and this is very apparent at Celtic. Everywhere he's gone, the sort of owners of the clubs and the directors have said, "We've done exactly what he asked for." Now, in the situation of someone like Celtic and stuff like that, obviously they're not spending hundreds of millions of pounds and stuff like that, but they don't have to get that type of level of player to be consistent to win the Scottish Premier League, right? And some of the other teams, yeah, of course they have, because they can, because they keep winning the league and that revenue comes in. But they were from day one. Whatever you need, we will do our 100% to try and get it for you. If we can't, we can't, but we will do whatever it takes to get it, so we can keep staying consistent and we can keep winning the league. He's now come into a situation where basically the expectation prior to his get here is that basically you do the best with what you've got, because we're not going to be the club that spends. We're not going to be the club that does what we need to do for you to get to your targets. It's we've run this, and we've Levy's in charge of the transfers and does this and does that, etc., etc. I'm just hoping that having him there and this team, and again, I'll say this with a pinch of salt, Levy saying he's going to take a step back from this whole transfer stuff, is maybe, the kind of that's the hope that is making me not think like Maz, where we're saying, I've seen all this before. We know what's going to happen. It's written in the stars. That's the little seed that I'm hoping. But I'm not. It is literally just a hope more than that's what's going to happen. Because I want to be surprised, but I'm biting my lip because I could go swing the other way and say, yeah, we know exactly what.
Let's hope we're all not saying this at the end of the season.
I want to be so wrong.
That last
Conte
comment.
did say it. Nothing will change. I'll ask you one question. Of course, it's the fear. I want to ask everyone a question before we wrap it up, just very quickly, and then everyone can do like their bye-bye. JP.
What was that?
Iggy, Maz, Lee, everyone. Are we getting top four? Whether you care about it or not.
We'll make top four.
See,
Angelo knows it all, man. Angelo knows it all.
See, this is what, Angelo, don't moan and bitch about words in press conferences. What counts is what happens on the field.
Okay.
Out of the Carabao Cup in round 1.
Angelo, you better be back at the end of the season. 5th
in the league. So you enjoy that trophy this season, because that's what's happened
at the end of the season. Then we'll talk.
That's what's happened on the field.
And then we'll see who'll be bitching and moaning then.
JP, top 4.
And we paid a higher ticket price.
Oh, 6%.
Angelo, your granddad's been priced out as well. Yeah, okay. Just
6%.
And people are still not pissed off with the board.
It's cool, right?
You know I'm overseas. No, don't talk tough. Let's just get on, boys. Then don't say things that we aren't allowed to rebut.
Who is this
Top
geese,
four.
man? Who is this guy? Who the fuck is this guy? I don't give a shit whether you're overseas or not. I'm telling you what I think. I don't give a shit. Who the fuck is this guy, man? Fuck.
Who the fuck?
Who's this guy, man? It's like, don't talk tough.
You're talking to
At
me?
the end of the season, Angelo,
You're talking
come
to me?
back here and we'll see what's happened, and we'll see what happens with the coach, and the same shit will happen again. Listen, I'm all for supporting a team, and I've told the lads this. I'm all for talking, supporting the team for 90 minutes, and I will always do so. I want us to make top four, of course I do. Do I think ultimately it will make a difference in the grand scheme of things? The answer is no. Now, if you can agree or disagree, it's no problem. But the bottom line is, I don't think, in the grand scheme of things, it will change absolutely anything. And right now, with Ange, what he's been saying, I think he's building a rod for his back, which all these things he's saying will be used against him to get him out of the club. And the fans will also help in doing this in the long run. That's what I think. Right or wrong, time will tell.
What I'm gonna say is I do hope for top four, purely for Stell's and Lee's sake, so that we can see what happens in the summer.
I think we will get. Listen, we're
Because we'll
better
have
than
more
Villa.
money.
I don't think Man United have got it in them to put a run together. I think Spurs now. I think we're going to finish the season strong. I think we might finish it the way we started it. I do.
I think
Spurs are going to finish strong this season.
I
didn't
would
answer.
say the fact that
You
we're
butted
getting
in.
our players back now. It seems like as each game goes by, they're getting a bit more in terms of up to speed with play, like your Madisons and stuff like that. So, without any other injuries, it could be a good run.
I'll tell you what, for me, top four, I'll answer the question once
I hope
we've
I'm
got
wrong.
through this.
Swanix, I hope I'm wrong.
What?
Sorry, mate. I hope I'm wrong. Because if I'm wrong, that means Tottenham are on the right
He's
way.
going to happen again, man. You are a joke.
Sorry,
You
Lee.
know what?
You're right.
Do you know what? Adrian, if Adrian's watching, Adrian, this is what you do. I love
Yeah.
Adrian. This is Adrian.
Lee,
I
I
was watching that last
apologise. I
night.
just wanted to respond. That's
I
all.
love Adrian. Adrian's my
Well,
favorite.
don't bring up the bloody comments
listen,
for me to respond.
Look, Mister, anything that I've got on you that when we actually finally get to meet, I'll get a hug. It's fine. It's great.
You'll get more than that, mate. Don't worry.
Woo. I'll bring the toilet roll. So
You said
top
it.
four. I'll come back to this question once we've got through this next run of 4 games. Once if we can get these games that really we should be winning out the way, then I think I say whatever happens in those Man City, Liverpool games, I think that's all going to be on between us and Villa. And then I think we'll the last couple of games of the season, I think we've got what it takes to beat. So I think these next few games, Fulham, Nottingham Forest, Newcastle, Luton, if we come out of that looking good, then yeah, I'll go. I think we can go top 4 there. I'll tell you what though, looking the way Newcastle are playing tonight, is that at our ground, our game? Is it away? Is it away?
Chelsea away.
Because I tell you what, they made Chelsea look good tonight.
Yeah,
and
Newcastle,
and
they're there for the taking right now.
Yeah, and Gordon's injured. I think Gordon's went off injured as well. Which he was their standout.
Newcastle have been off for a little while now, man. They just seem to have just gone into a bit of a downward spiral.
So, my take on the top 4 is I think Andrew's a brilliant manager. I hope it all works out, for him and the players, and they all play well and they finish the season as strong as possible. But I couldn't give a flying fig about whether we finish top 4 or not.
Only because you know nothing's going to result of it afterwards.
Well, if we were going to finish Champions League and we were going to go out and buy a couple of 70-80 million pound quality players that we've heard of that are really going to uplift the squad guaranteed, then I'm all for it. But if we're going to go and sign Timo and another Johnson, let's say, right, then what is the point? Everything hinges on not necessarily Ange per se, but how Levy and the recruitment team and their ambition as a club, goes forward basically from summer. That's it, really.
Do you know what? There is one benefit, Iggy, of getting Champions League.
Go on.
And I'll tell you what that is
Hit
that
me
it's
with
not very often that fans get to go to go to the stadium on a Wednesday night and hear that Champions League theme music. That's the only benefit, and the benefits to the fans, not to the club.
I'm worried
That
about
is
the
a
90
moment
minutes
hearing
to follow.
hearing that theme coming over the speakers at that ground on a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night is just an epic feeling for about 45 seconds.
You can pay
Other than that, nothing,
£95.
no benefit.
Yeah, forget the 90 minutes that will follow.
yeah, don't worry about that. That's like a 4-0 battering by
It's
fucking
like that,
FC Young Boys.
I just want to clarify as well. I don't think any of us dislike Ange. I think every
No,
single one of the
absolutely
panel members
not.
love Ange. We love it.
the
We love what
opposite.
he's doing at
Complete-
Spurs and
Hey, we
everything.
back
So
Klopp, we back Jose, we back Conte, we
We
back
back-
Ange.
Exactly.
I love Ange. I just think for his own benefit, if he stays out of speaking about certain things, it's better for him. That's why I'm saying it, not because
Yep.
I have any hatred. If I hated him, I'd say, yeah, talk more.
it's more for the new guys that have joined the chat that don't, may think we're coming across negative. It's
No.
just that we're looking at this from
I think that's going to happen regardless, and
historical.
Maz, that
Yeah.
our channel and negativity go hand in hand, so it's not like it's going to.
all because of
change.
Stel.
I've got no issue with it. I laugh at most fans, to be honest with you. I do. I think we've got the weirdest fan base in England.
Do
Well,
you know what? Do you know
When
what?
I
We all,
speak to Leicester fans, Brighton fans, Wolves fans, Birmingham fans, I've got fans. I know I've got friends from West Bromwich Albion. When they ask me about Tottenham, they all ask me the same thing, right? Literally, it comes up in conversation. They always say to me, "What do you lot want over there? And what is it you want?" And when they ask me that question, I always say to them, "I don't know. I don't know what Spurs fans want. I know what I want. I know what a couple of my friends want, but as a fan base as a whole, I've got no idea what they want. I don't." And that's and they're all fascinated by it. They're fascinated by us. They think we're like an experiment, like an online experiment.
Stel, the response should be, "We've got our Tottenham back." That is the default response now.
I can't do it.
Trust the project. Trust the project.
Yeah.
No, I think
it's the same thing though, isn't it, Lee? Trust the project is the same thing as we got our Tottenham back. It's exactly the same thing.
Mate, I'll never forget, right, when someone absolutely ruined me online last year when I was cussing Arsenal and I was saying to them, trust the process, right? And literally a month later, we just collapsed. And he messaged me, trust the decline.
and that's
no
the beauty
reply.
of football, mate. That's
And
the
no
beauty.
reply.
And that's the beauty of football. You give it, you take it. That's it.
Trust the decline. I'm like, that is so Tottenham. That is so. But yeah, look, I think all of us we want to get top 4 if we can, because it's better than finishing 5th, 6th, or 7th. And we're just waiting to see what happens in the summer. If they back Ange, brilliant. That's what we want. It means they've finally woken up. If they don't back him, I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea what Ange will do. I have no idea what the fans will do. Probably the usual. There'll be a new manager in a year's time, or things actually change and we actually have a team that can do something. Because we're not miles off, but we're not in touching distance either. We still need a fair bit of work. Is that fair? Is that a fair assessment of where everyone's at? You're on mute, JP. So. You're on mute, bro.
It takes one excuse away if we qualify for the Champions League, because then you can't use that excuse and that the extra money thing.
Or they can just say, if you can do top 4 with this team, carry on.
Yeah. No, they'll say, but we don't get the Champions League money until next summer.
Yeah.
So then we'll have to wait.
That will happen, by the way, Sophie. Mason, as soon as if Ange goes, Mason's going to be our permanent manager.
Yeah, Eddie Howe could be on the go by then.
I love comments like this. Stel doesn't like Levy, but quite happy to buy a season ticket. Do you know what I love about this?
Loser.
Do you know what I love about this? I don't like you, United Central, but I let you come on the show and speak. Now what?
True.
Your move. I think guys. I think
people forget that despite of the feelings towards the board, we still support Tottenham. I think that gets lost in sight. We
What am I going
support
to do?
the
Not
team.
watch Tottenham? What am I going to
That's
do?
his,
Not
you
watch
know,
them?
that and I'll defend you on this one. It's like he
But
still
what do you do
supports
if
the
you don't go to
team.
the stadium? What do you
He
do?
goes to the stadium to support the team and hopes the Spurs win. That doesn't change the fact that his belief of the board, it's
I
two
think
different
we've
things, you know.
we've
No, I
loved
I
Tottenham
just don't
longer
like
than
you,
he's
United
been the
Central.
chairman, right?
I just don't like you. No one else, just you.
We've loved Tottenham longer than the chairman.
This is
At the
what
end
I'm
of the day,
saying.
right?
Your feelings towards the board ain't the same feelings as you watching Spurs play. You still want the team to do well, no matter what. They're up against whoever, and you're supporting them.
I have a
Iggy,
season
No,
ticket.
no,
Take-
this is the point.
You go.
I don't
Sorry,
understand how the two things
Stel.
cannot be separated. I don't get it. Why
Yeah,
can't the
but-
two things be
Yeah,
separated?
but this is what they miss, though. They don't understand that we've got 24 years of this. If they give it another 6 years, it's 30 years. It's probably longer than some of these guys have been alive.
We could have like an anniversary, 30-year
Yeah,
anniversary
exactly.
of not doing
30
shit.
year and yeah, it's like
Maybe we could have a Tottenham away party.
The
you
thing
know,
is,
and
right?
in
this is-
10 years'
I'm not
time, when
coming.
we've got another Harry Kane from our amazing recruitment,
Brendan
was
Johnson.
it training system and
It'd be
something.
Brendan Johnson.
When we're 34 years into the project, and we can look back and think, yes, our academy was worth it.
The thing is, right?
It's a funny comment, by the way.
If you
That
don't
last
know
one
me,
killed me.
not like me, you clown, and you don't know me either. You've never met me, never spoken to me. In fact, you know what? Let me just ban you.
I hate my
There you go.
mother-in-law,
Go
but
watch Chris Cowlin. Go watch Last One on Spurs. Go watch anyone else. I've banned you. I've freed you. Now you can have a happy life. For me, right, the way I look at it is this. If you support a team, whether it's Brighton, Tottenham, United, and you're not happy and you blame the owners or you blame the manager, whatever, you're going to boo, you're going to moan, and hopefully there's a change. But if it never changes, what do? You've got two choices. Stop supporting the team, like just change club, which I think is almost impossible because who am I going to go and support? Arsenal after spending 30 years cussing them and singing songs about them, or Chelsea after they've been cussing us and I've been cussing them. Like, you can't suddenly be one of them, so you're stuck. So the other option is like what my friend in the chat is, who's banned for life now from the show. I do what he says. I stop going to the games. Okay, I'll stop going to the games. I'm going to watch it how? On TV. Well, as soon as I pay for my Sky TV or my BT Sports, or whatever it's called now, that money goes back to the club. The club makes more money from TV subscription and media subscription than any other revenue. So whether you watch it at home or go to the stadium, it goes back into the club in some way, shape, or form. The only way you stop giving money to the club is you've got to stop watching them, stop supporting them, full stop. And stop going onto channels and commenting and talking about it. You've literally got to cut off completely. But how can you do that? How do you do that?
Can we run a poll
don't
and
think you
see
should
how
even
many other
respond to
fans
that.
want to be freed from the shackles and go and lead a happy life? I think there'll be quite a few of them.
I don't think you should even have to respond.
I think that's something I'm not
I don't think you
prepared
should
to
even
do
have to
still,
respond to that.
right? Because at the end of the day, what Levy looks like he's trying to do is basically push out a lot of the loyal, faithful who've gone there for years and years and years. And that solely for that reason, I would like to stay there and make my voice heard inside that ground and outside that ground. And that's how I will show my frustration and my dislike to what's happening, as opposed to giving up something or a club that I love and having to turn off the TV and not watch football.
Yeah, this is it. It's like, why? You know, if you like working somewhere, you like being somewhere. Why should I have to miss out on that because of one person? Like, why should you give it all up for one person? No, I'd rather just not talk to that person and give them fucking hell, and hopefully they just bugger off one day whilst I just carry on doing what I'm doing. But look, I do get the argument. I disagree with it because I'm a supporter at the end of the day. I don't know what other solution there is. What am I going to boycott for the rest of my life? Fucking then what?
You won't get back in if you give up your season ticket. So it'll be, that'll be the end of that. So listen, I think the two arguments. I don't think you should even have to respond to things like that. So
yeah, I like to because I like pushing back on those people. I actually enjoy hitting back at those people. Phil P, simple. Me and Stel give up equals Spurs win the league. Let's do it. If we win the league, Phil, I'll give up.
That could work.
Guys, listen, we've got a lot of people still commenting. We're going to wrap up the show. Yeah, guys, final words. We'll go around and we'll wrap it up. JP?
Bitcoin 72,500. So I'm okay. I'm all right. But no, looking forward to the game at Fulham. I'm trying to get a ticket from somewhere because it's up the road for me. But we'll see if I can kind of grab one and go. At least I'll be able to do some stuff from there. But yeah, roll on. Let's see. It was a maybe unexpected, but a nice win. A clean sheet, which I feel like in a way is just as important, if not more important, than scoring those 4 goals. Pleased that we kept a clean sheet because it's been a while, right? And just keep that ball rolling.
Keep the ball rolling, Iggy.
Come on, you Spurs.
Short and sweet. Maz.
I hope we can carry on the momentum that we currently got into the next 3-4 games. I think I'm with Lee here. It'll be good to see us. If we can put a really good run together the next 3 or 4 games, I think that will certainly make the end of the season really exciting for us to watch.
Not as bad as this one.
It's look, at the end of the day, I am positive about what Ange's doing. I think he's doing a good job. Despite the challenges, and I hope we finish strongly, and we'll see what happens. I am waiting until summer, so until then, I'll try and keep positive.
Matt, the way he said it was just so. It's like you can smell the bullshit coming out of his mouth. Yeah, I'll try and stay positive. Yeah, Lee.
It's a bit like a press conference, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with the toilet blocks. Anyway, did I read earlier that apparently that some media outlets come out and said Eric Dyer is the missing piece that Bayern Munich's needed to kickstart their season.
Yeah, they did.
There we go. That's all I've got to say about that.
End on that.
Should have kept him.
How funny would it be, if
no, Iggy.
Don't say it, Iggy.
No. How funny
Iggy, don't say it.
Arsenal got City and Liverpool coming up, and we got Fulham and Luton, and we can go with 5 points behind. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying nothing more. I'll stop there. I'm laughing as well.
Just to let you know, Philly 2109, you can only get away tickets if you're a season ticket holder. So, good idea, but it doesn't work, unfortunately. There's a Bill P says Bayern were missing a slow shit player.
And that piece in the jigsaw is fixed now.
Oh, big up Phil P.
Big up Phil P. Guys, listen, thanks for watching as always. Like, subscribe. Make sure you watch the shows coming this week. Big up to Phil P. Loads of super chats from him, man. Thank you, Phil. You know you don't have to. I guess I owe you about 7 pints of beer or cider next home game. We are back, I think, this week with Mari doing a show. Friday, we've got our 5 p.m. show. Then, is it Fulham away? Is it on Sunday we're playing?
Saturday. 5:30.
Yeah,
okay,
the evening one, isn't it?
We will be going live late on Saturday night UK time for sure for the post-match show. Otherwise, I'm sure Iggy, JP will drop a couple of videos during the week here and there. Check it all out. Thanks for watching as always, guys. Respect to you all. And yeah, we're out of here. Until the next game. Put them away. Let's go.
Come on, you Spurs.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.